Yeah, I'm on I'm on here at a weird time. I'm on here at a weird time. But yeah, I just wanted to discuss a few things as far as what I've been hearing lately. And one thing I'm hearing for some reason, and I'm hearing stuff about Della Santos. And I don't know what the reason is people so emotional about Della Santos right now, but they acting like bro, world champion or something. His name was coming up a couple of months ago. Ain't nobody act like they cared about it. Now all of a sudden the man name come up. People want to get all emotional and extra about the news coming out about him. Like, man, relax. You do not care that much. What's up, Petey? What's going on? And I had to sit back and think about this for a long time. So when I say what I'm gonna say, shout out to PD too, man. I ain't seen my dog in a minute. When I say what I'm gonna say, I've been thinking about it for a long time. So before anybody react, oh, you put them in the man. I ain't gonna lie. You know, I'm vegan now, bro, but I ain't gonna lie. Yesterday, I was thinking about some wings so bad. I was like, man, I don't know why I miss chicken wings so bad right now. Oh yeah, I'm finna go in, bro. Appreciate that, dog. You already know. Shout out to my dog PD, man. My dog that been around over a year now, man. Shout out to you, man. My man, he been supporting over a year now. Over a year of support. So I appreciate him for real. Day one. But one thing I want to say first is I was the first one, and I don't want to be like Soldier Boy and everything, but I gotta throw this out here because I was the first one to bring up De Los Santos' name after he lost to Shakur Stevenson, even though he landed the least amount of punches in boxing history. Now, mind you, after the man landed the least amount of punches in boxing history, I said that De Los Santos would be a good option for Tank Davis fight. And you know why? The reason why is the reason why you seen with Lamont Roach just recently. So think about that power De Los Santos would have had in the ring with Tank. I wasn't just matching guys up with Tank just to throw names out there. All the people that I'm talking about with Lamont Roach, that's in line with Lamont Roach is like a De Los Santos. They can crack. And they around that same size. And they can do the same type of things. Gary Antoine Russell, he's another guy. You know what I'm saying? People ain't just throwing names out there when you trying to match certain people up. But I told people, because everybody getting to the talk about ducking and Andy Cruz, that Andy Cruz talk got a lot of people confused about Keyshawn Davis. That's what was funny about that whole situation. It's like laughing at the guy in Karate Kid for losing to Danielson. Like, are you serious? Like, who laughs at the guy from the Cobra Kai guy for losing to Danielson? Like, who's gonna laugh at him? I'm confused. So in real life, we got people laughing at basically like the Karl Malone of boxing or something. The Charles Barkley of boxing. You come in second place, everybody like, oh man. They acting like dudes got stopped in the first round or something. So the thing about it is Keyshawn Davis got so many people confused right now and shocked because he coming off 2 straight knockouts after doing a couple of fights where he went 12 rounds. And he's called Tank Davis out, which caught people off guard. He has a belt now. People said they want Tank to fight a champion. Now we went from people not fighting Tank to ducking. So now you got a whole crowd of people trying to fight Tank, and all of them got belts. And somehow De Los Santos had made his way into the situation. And we got fans showing up over here talking about some, oh man, you capping about De Los Santos. You capping. First of all, bro, when it comes to numbers in boxing, I'm not a specialist. I'm not an expert. I don't know everything. But from what I've seen over the last 10 years in boxing, these dudes ain't putting out numbers like that to the point where I need to be double checking stuff I'm putting out. They ain't putting out correct numbers like that. If they was putting out correct numbers, Turkey Al-Sheikh wouldn't be in boxing right now. Those numbers, trust me, the numbers everybody been putting out, as far as, you don't want me to go towards that. The numbers that everybody been putting out, and I'm gonna drop a bomb right now, and anybody can test it. The numbers they've been putting out for Canelo and Tank, if they was as good as they've been, and everybody say they cash cows, Turkey Al-Sheikh wouldn't have to come in the boxing and throw around money, and everybody act like they ain't never seen that type of money. Last time I checked, Tank and Canelo bringing in more money than people have ever seen. And for some reason, they acting like, oh man, we need to go ahead and, sell out and go ahead over here with Turkey because we ain't bringing in that much money. And it's still on pay-per-view. And, some people would say, oh, well, that's free money though. Why would they not take that money? I mean, they still doing it on pay-per-view. Why would they not go over there and take that free money? Of course it's free money. I would take it too. But not if I own Ream Magazine and I've been putting on fights for the last 20 years. No, I'm not going to do it then. It wouldn't make a lot of sense. You know what that would mean? If I'm doing that, that means I'm having bad business. That's why last year when Dana White said boxing is always like a going out of business sale all the time, and I guess he was throwing a big hint out there last year because, even me, I didn't know what he was saying around that time. I had an idea. I said, if he's talking about what I think he's talking about, then it's going to be a lot of shuffling going on, which is going on right now. And I don't know why people are confused right now. I'm confused because for some reason, I'm hearing people say, well, De Los Santos. And this is why I know people don't listen well. And another thing, too, the stuff that Brian Norman Jr. then was saying last year is starting to come back and bite a lot of people. This is why everybody can't talk about the business of boxing. You got to learn in the ring first. Then you got to learn what's going outside the ring. You can't learn about what's going outside the ring until you learn about what's going inside the ring. It's that simple. Everybody knows that. But what they were saying last year was, hey, I got to give these folks, $200 or whatever, allegedly, to cross the street. We got to pay a fee or whatever because we signed with these promotional people. But, hey, I'll come to the table with you. What's the deal? Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, this week, it ain't going to be nobody else looking for this because ain't nobody else going to bring it up because they were on the other side with this topic. They were trying to pick sides. But I want to see how much Standing Jonas is making this weekend when this fight happens. If it's around the same number that Brian Norman Jr. was asking for. Because for some reason, Standing Jonas said, hey, I want to have the fight the same day that Brian Norman Jr. was talking about fighting Boots. Standing Jonas come out and say, hey, I want to fight Boots outside of Philadelphia. I don't want to fight him in Philadelphia. So as much as anybody want to say, oh, well, it ain't that big of a deal that they having to fight in Atlantic City, the fact that they even decided to go over there and do that, but you couldn't make no wishes. Stanionis ain't did nothing in boxing. Nothing. What are they making concessions for Stanionis for? What has he done in boxing? What has Stanionis done in boxing to the point where we got to go to Atlantic City? I keep saying Atlantic Station. Y'all already know what time it is. Atlantic City. I got to go to Atlantic City to give him a fight so I can get a unification. What? And the last guy couldn't even get that? People will say, it was the money, though. All right, it was the money. Okay. But what about the location, though? We couldn't even have a talk about that. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. I'm going to tell y'all, I done broke it down to a decimal. It's going to be some stuff that I'm going to forget, so I'm going to have to run back. I might repeat a couple of things. There's a lot of thoughts going on right now. But I'm going to just finish off the De Los Santos thing, then I'm going to get back to that. But with the De Los Santos and Keyshawn thing, I just want to say this. De Los Santos has not fought since 2023. He landed the least amount of punches in a championship fight in history. Then, the man is still getting, because people know boxing, he's still getting asked to fight top guys. He's still getting asked, hey, man, we know De Los Santos is good. Because people know boxing. I'm not going to say boxing fans. I know boxing fans know boxing. Trust me. That's why I have a high stand. Bro, trust me. People know boxing. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you now. I'm going to give you an example of how people know boxing. And they try to play dumb. Why do people make a big fuss of Shakur Stevenson if he's not that good of a fighter? We got all these great fighters in boxing right now. It's people that say he boring, they don't like to watch him. Why do people make such a fuss about this guy? If people don't know how to break down a fight. People know how to break down a fight. You think people are just watching not Keyshawn, but Shakur Stevenson over and over because they don't know how to break down a fight? They know how to break down a fight. Trust me. They know who has skills and who don't. Trust me. They're not just watching Shakur Stevenson because they don't know how to break down a fight. People know how to break down a fight. That's why when you tell somebody, hey, what's the facts? Oh, no, but my feelings, my opinion. That's cool and everything, bro. We can get to that. That ain't a conversation we having, though. We talking about facts, though. I want to talk about what happened. I don't want to talk about what you think could happen. That's why sometimes it's better talking about stuff that already happened instead of talking about stuff that can happen, because if somebody's going to lie about something, because anybody can lie about something that can happen because it hasn't happened yet. But if somebody lies about something that happened, then somebody got an agenda. If I come on here every day and lie about something that happened, not something that's going to happen, something that happened. There's a lot of that going on. It's a lot of that, just like with the De Los Santos thing. Let me get to this. So people were saying, oh, well, Brian Norman Jr., he was just making $100,000 fighting his last fight, and now he want this amount of money. So I'm hearing that De Los Santos was offered $400K, and his promotional team only gave him $200K allegedly. That's the news. Now let me ask y'all a question, because is De Los Santos a contender or a prospect? People will say he's a contender because he fought Shakur. Okay, cool. He threw the least amount of punches in boxing history. He landed the least amount of punches in boxing history in a championship 12-round fight. And the man is talking about $200K ain't enough. And he's coming out, and he has 2 losses already. I think he's like around 24, 25. He has 2 losses. Hasn't fought since 2023, and this is his second chance to fight for a championship belt. These dudes in boxing is getting spoiled, man. I'm be real with you. And I like De Los Santos. But 10 years ago, this wasn't gonna happen. 20 years ago, stuff like this ain't gonna happen. And Roach was just getting what? 700K as a champion? We got champions getting 800K. Some champions getting 200K. This man is coming off a loss where he landed the least amount of punches in boxing history. So according to the stats, he pulled off one of the worst performances ever. So he's in a position where he has to really redeem himself. Still coming off a loss. Oh, well, they only offered me 400K. I mean 200, and I'm hearing that it was 400. Talk to them about it. Don't run to the internet. If somebody offered you 400K and your team only said you got 200, that's like PD saying, "Hey dog, I got 400 to do this job. They're gonna pay both of us 400 apiece." And I'm like, all right, cool. And I get up there and they like, "Nah, we ain't finna pay y'all 400 apiece." So that's something you gotta go to your team and talk to your team about. You can't run to the internet and be like, "Oh man, no, that ain't what I heard." Bro, they work for you, bro. You gotta figure that out. They work for you. You don't work for them. You're the boxer. You're the athlete. You're there to do the service, not their service is to make sure that everything is good as far as the numbers and everything. But what people don't realize is, and this goes back to the Brian Norman Jr. situation. The reason why that 200K is missing out of Del Santos's purse or whatever going into the fight is because that's how much they're gonna charge across the street. That's what Brian Norman Sr. said already, allegedly. As far as, people be charging fees across the street. So they like, okay, we're gonna get ours up front, or we're gonna give him the rest. And the way I look at it, it's not a bad offer. Because think about it. I know fighters that's been in bigger situations, that's been champions, and that haven't got another chance to fight for a belt. Del Santos getting 2 chances. So he's gonna fight for a belt 2 times in a row. Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis. He's not in a situation like Brian Norman Jr. because you're not the youngest champion in boxing right now. And you also don't have a buzz right now. You're coming off of one of the worst performances you could have had, and you didn't make any noise. So you gotta look at it. You gotta weigh your options. Definitely gotta weigh your options. That's why when people were saying, "Oh, why did Brian Norman Jr. turn down that money?" Because he's knocking out people. He gonna get it done regardless. Same reason why Barrios and all these other guys turned down the money. And I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But I just want to make sure, because people was telling me, "Oh, you capping about De Los Santos." How am I capping about De Los Santos when he was supposed to fight Rayo last summer on the Frank Martin and Tank card? He was gonna try to make it happen. Then he said, "I got an injury anyway, so let me go ahead and figure this out. What's going on?" Then later on, a couple months later, he was trying to fight Tank Davis. If Lamont Roach would have got injured, knock on wood, which he didn't have, he's good. But if he would have got injured, De Los Santos would have stepped in. But these people are so behind on boxing, they don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what's going on. So the last time that a top-ranked guy like Shakur Stevenson, when he was at top rank, was dealing with De Los Santos, it was easy. They put the offer out there. He took it. Boom. Because Frank Martin was supposed to fight him. And then De Los Santos was like, well, I'll just take whatever he was offering. Or they did whatever they was offering. I don't know what it was. And they made that easy. Boom. So he's dealt with these people before. So for him to be coming out like, "Oh man, I thought the number was this, but they off Bro, you know what time it is. Go talk to your team, man. That ain't on Keyshawn Davis. All Keyshawn Davis did his part. The minute a boxer says, I want to fight a guy and a champion, you telling me a champion goes out there and gives a guy an opportunity, 6 figures, who just coming off a loss? And I'm supposed to sit up here and be like, man, they doing him wrong. Man, you know how many boxers it is in the boxing right now? Look at that Yadier Herrera guy that just called out Shakur Stevenson from Cuba. He another 135 everybody talking about now. So just like that, another 135 gonna pop up. So to be sitting here trying to recycle De Los Santos, he got to make something shake eventually. If he go out there and lay an egg against Keyshawn, it's a wrap. But if he go out there and get the win, he gonna be a millionaire. So I don't know what position he wants to play right now. Maybe he hears something in the background where he feel like there's some tank fight that still can line up eventually if he claw his way through as far as with the PBC fighters, but still got some options at 140. So for him to turn that fight down, he definitely gonna have options. He's definitely gonna have options. As far as what Gary Antoine Russell, everything like that. Every option that Rayo and these other guys had, De Los Santos gonna be in the mix as well. So for him to be like, nah, 200K ain't enough, or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? For that not to be enough, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I had to think about it. If somebody was shorting me on my money, would I sit up here and run to the internet and be like, hey, man, no, they shorting me? I go to them and be like, hey, why y'all shorting me? So it's something else going on. It probably was just a business move and he don't want to look like a duck. But if it's that serious to run on the internet about, it need to be treated serious then. And I don't want to be extreme, you know, because people say sometimes boxers ain't transparent and stuff like that. So I don't want to be extreme. Like, man, why you telling us? Yeah, exactly, PD. And then PD, I'm being, I'm being real about the situation. I'm like, okay, Keyshawn, a young guy, he haven't had that many rounds lately. That's kind of, it's a little advantage. It's not really, but if I wanted to be picky about it, I can say that's an advantage because, De Los Santos, Keyshawn only had what? Probably like 18, 20 rounds. De Los Santos probably had only what, 12 last few fights. But if I'm De Los Santos, I'm thinking right now, and I like Keyshawn. I think Keyshawn is, if anybody know me, I think Keyshawn is that deal. But I think that he's still green enough to the point where you can go out there and try to land something. But you're gonna have to be a dog and you're gonna have to go for it and fight like you really know you Edwin De Los Santos like you say you are. Because Keyshawn's not gonna run. And he's not a flat-footed fighter, but he's not gonna shuffle his feet and try to slip punches and all that other stuff. He can, but if you want to make it happen, but he'll sit there and brawl with you. So if you're a guy like De Los Santos, that's the best option you can have at 135. Especially when it comes to style matchup. A guy who's gonna sit there and try to throw power punches with you, yeah, make that happen. Yeah, that's how I'm looking at the PD. I'm like, Cause I still understand it's a business, so people gonna make certain moves. But I had to think about it. It's not the same situation as other guys who's champions already. This guy's not a champion. I can't compare his situation to Brian Norman Jr., Barrios. I can't even compare it to Williams and Fader because he's coming off a loss. And he has 2 losses in his young career. He's basically a prospect who just fought Shakur Stevenson, beat Rayo. I ain't gonna say he's a prospect, I ain't gonna disrespect him like that. But he hasn't really done anything as far as besides the Rayo situation. So I ain't gonna say he's a prospect, but man, contender, like a full-blown contender? I don't know. Not when you turn this down. Yeah, and this is a guy, man, I don't know about that, bro. He said if you really trying to be a champ and keep making money and believe you can win, you take that fight. Exactly. You definitely take that fight. You definitely take that fight. And what people get confused do, and PD, you know what they get confused to? A lot of these fighters ain't see the fighters like Canelo and these guys, they was taking $200K when they first started boxing. Like before Canelo fought Floyd, he was taking $200K. That's why I don't understand. These dudes don't understand what's going on. It's like, it's people that's coming off losses. I understand everybody got to eat in boxing. But, bro, once you get that opportunity, what's going on, Joseph Bailey? Once you get that opportunity at the belt, bro, it's time to make something happen. I'm talking about De Los Santos is a very young guy. Hasn't fought that much. Probably got like 16 fights or something like that. 18 fights. I think he might be 16-2. He got 2 losses. He's getting offered $400K. They talking about giving him $200. And it's for a belt. And he just fought for a belt in his last fight. And you got 2 losses already. So you gonna fight for your second belt before you have 20 fights. It's guys who are big prospects that haven't fought for a belt before 20 fights. And this man about to fight for what? 2 belts before he has 20 fights? Come on, man. I can't give him a pass on that one. And I ain't playing favorites on this either. Nah, 20 fights is insane. He gonna have 2 championship fights before he has 20 fights. That's crazy. And you still got Andy Cruz out there still making some things happen. I don't think he's trying to jump in a title fight right now because, he hasn't been training with Bozy Ennis that long, but yeah, that's crazy. But PD said if you win 4 or 5 rounds to get Keyshawn and goes 12, at least 10 turns, he Gucci. Yeah, he good. Yeah, he good. And he getting paid. And he getting paid. And I think he got a chin. I think most of these guys got a chin, but it seemed like he's not confident in that. Because you can bring up other names too, PD, like I could throw Esau Cruz out there like that. People will say, well, Esau Cruz, he ain't fight Shakur. Yeah, but he's fought Tank, he fought Gamboa, he fought Rayo. So he got a few names where he jumped in the ring with. So right now, if I had to say it, De Los Santos is not even making he's not even taking risks like Pitbull. And Pitbull had already been in the ring with Tank. And he's been mentioned as far as having a rematch with Tank possibly. Exactly, Joseph Valen. Y'all got they gotta think about it. Pitbull, he's been promised a Tank fight since what, last January of last year? So Pitbull could have said, you know what, I'ma chill. I got this belt from Rolly. I'ma just go ahead and chill. He was like, nah, let me go ahead and fight Rayo. Let me go ahead and fight this Mexican guy on Benavidez card. Yeah, so he gonna make it happen. That's why I said it's different type of fighters out here. It's some guys who fight once a year and look for certain spots for a belt or a cash out spot. And there's other guys who fight anytime for any amount of money. That's why I can't really agree with a lot of stuff, but I be like, man, as far as Barrios, just gotta let him do his thing sometime. The dude went out there and fought Tank, fought Keith Thurman, then he went and fought Barrios. I mean, not Barrios, but Ugas. Tripping. Ugas. He fought Ugas, all those guys, three in a row. 3 in a row. And I think De Los Santos fought Rayo. I think he fought William Foster, Rayo, Joseph Ordorno, Shakur Stevenson. Definitely good matchups, but you lost 2 of those though. Yeah, he fought like 3 times since De Los Santos, cause he fought Rolly. He went up to 140, fought Rolly. Then he fought Rayo. Then he just fought that Mexican guy. That's why I said I don't really be criticizing Pitbull like that, cause he gonna make sure, you know, he gonna make sure people know what time it is. But y'all gotta realize though, De Los Santos, he fought Shakur when he was like what, 24? So this man, he gonna waste 24 to 26 with no fight. I'm talking about good years too. So that's gonna let you know right now he ain't getting no development. He's sparring. Yeah, you sparring, but that's not gonna be good as far as on your body over time. But you sparring a lot, but you ain't fighting. And you getting injured. He said with them T-Rex on. Oh yeah, he almost got stopped that last fight too, PD. Almost got stopped. But yeah, he got heart though, man. He shows up. He shows up. Trust me. Guys like that, it ain't really gonna affect them to jump in the boxing league or whatever. But some of these other guys, it's like, hey, I need a payday. I'm coming off a loss. I landed 44 punches, 3 punches around in a 12-round fight. Y'all gotta realize that. De Los Santos was in the ring with Shakur, and the man was landing 3 punches around. 3 punches. Talking about, hey, I know they gave me $200K to fight for a championship, but bro, if you get that, take that. You had a bad performance. And technically not even supposed to get an offer for a championship belt right now. To be honest with you, he shouldn't be fighting for a championship. That's what I'm saying. He need to go ahead and strike while the iron's hot, because you'd have other guys like Abdullah Mason and other 135s that's younger than De Los Santos that will be trying to look for a shot soon. And there's plenty of guys that been in the ring with both of them. And a lot of people ain't gonna tell you right now, well, you know, De Los Santos just beat him up right now. No, they're not gonna say that. So that's the one thing I like about 135. You have a lot of young guys that's looking for spots right now to fill and move up in the rankings. That's why when the rankings start to get a little more, you know, realistic, it's gonna hurt a lot of people. It's gonna scare a lot of people too. It's gonna hurt a lot of people though. But yeah, I'm very disappointed though. Because I've grown to like De Los Santos, but in this situation, you gotta take this fight, bro. You definitely gotta take this one. You gotta take this one. Gotta take that. And you from the Dominican Republic, you know you can take 200K over there. And you can make that stretch. But yeah, you gotta make that happen. Yeah, if you don't fight in 12 months, it's over with. It is over. And I got, I'm glad PD actually said something about that. It's a lot of things. I'm gonna do something tonight and I'm gonna try to release it tomorrow or whatever, but bro, it's a lot of changes coming up. This stuff De Los Santos talking about right now, it's cool and everything. As far as him being transparent with his business and everything, trying to let people know he want to fight, him accepting the fight, wanting to fight Keyshawn, calling him out. But he gotta understand, Keyshawn, he did everything he needed to. He got everybody from Top Rank and said, hey, let's go ahead and make this fight. This dude De Los Santos called me out online. So they already put millions behind the fight as soon as you called him out. Cause Keyshawn gotta get paid too. So it's already millions behind the fight at that point. Yeah, I don't think dudes be understanding opportunities when they have them. You can't overlook stuff like that. He said I'm Dominican, still can't be behind that. Yeah, shout out to PD, man, Dominican brother. Yeah, man, I don't know what type of time he on. And he a good fighter too, bro. That's why I'm sitting there like, would I pick him? I don't know. I probably wouldn't pick him, but if it's a guy who can win a fight like that, it's him. Like he's gonna be the one that confirms that Keyshawn is scary at 135. Right now, he's a threat, but for him to be scary at 135, he go out there and stop De Los Santos. He's gonna be scary at 135 and 140 for anybody. De Los Santos go out there and get a win against Keyshawn, he gonna be the man, even with 2 losses. Yeah, you gotta take that. You gotta take it. Yeah, but they gonna find out very soon. But it was a couple of other things I wanted to talk about, and one of them were recently. I've heard because I want to take my time. I don't want to step over any kind of facts I was coming up with, but um, the Brian Norman Jr. situation I was hearing because I'm gonna get to the Terrence Crawford thing after this, but I'm gonna go to the Brian Norman Jr. thing first. Now I heard, and shout out to Bozy Ennis. I heard him recently say that he was kind of tired of just allegedly discussing the whole Jerron Ennis and Norman situation talks because he's a trainer, so he's not really a guy who's gonna sit up here and talk about the talks and stuff all day. But you have to realize this, and this is what a lot of people don't realize. You have to realize this, and I've been saying this on my channel since I started this channel. I've always said I didn't like Cause I like when Jerron Ennis was calling people out, letting them know, okay, I'm gonna fight him. But when people excessively just, oh man, Crawford ducking, Crawford ducking, Crawford ducking Ennis. I'm like, bro, people gonna create a monster because Stanionis. I've been looking at Stanionis too, man. I'm gonna talk about that. I've been looking at Stanionis too. Stanionis a dog too. I'm gonna talk about that next. Let me get this point. Because people were saying, oh, Crawford ducking boots and stuff all these years. Crawford ducking boots. And I'm like, Crawford ducking boots. I'm like, how is Crawford ducking boots? Because you know all the scenarios that happened since that situation. Because we've had a situation where people were talking about contracts with Ennis and Crawford, whether they were sent or whether it was official or a rumor or not. It was similar to the Norman situation. You know what I'm saying? Where it was discussions and people never jumped up really and said, hey man, Jerron Ennis ducking Crawford. He ducking. Bro, you gotta realize ain't nobody ever said Jerron Ennis was ducking Crawford or Spence. People overlook that like to the highest level. Nobody ever said that Jerron Ennis was ducking Crawford or Boots. I mean Crawford or Brian Norman. Even right now, nobody really running around saying he ducking Brian Norman Jr. But to make it seem like he's not an option as far as he's not a threat, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. To say he's not a threat, that's crazy to me. Because Stanionis is fighting this weekend, and I'm just like PD said, let me go ahead and speak on that. Stanionis, I think Stanionis is a good fighter. I think he's like a tank almost. You know, he's almost like Canelo, but he does a lot more. He jabs a lot more. He can mix it up a lot better. He gets hit a lot, but it's only because he's taking a lot of chances trying to stop guys late, get beat up bad later rounds. But I think he got a good jab, solid jab, too powerful. I think he got powerful hooks. He looks slow, but he's actually fast because he times stuff. He can see things happening. He can process things real good. Knows how to survive. Score at the end of rounds. Got good ring generalship, but in his last fight, I wasn't impressed by his performance. It could have been because of his activity. He wasn't really active like that. So the best I've seen him, he's actually been good. So I don't know if he's going to be the best I've seen him because he hasn't fought since last year, but it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a tough fight. It really is. I think I don't know, the styles match up so different. Stanionis is a lot more powerful, folks. So in my mind, if he can land some of the shots Karen did with a lot more power on it, you know, if he loads up on a couple of shots, really sits on his punches, he can do some damage. But you know, that's why he's a champion though. You know, most champions can. But as far as like across the board though, I was just thinking about it. I don't know how good Stanionis is compared to other fighters that's in the division. I think he has a very good jab though. I think his jab is underrated. I think he's a good counterpuncher at times when he's really focusing in on it. But as far as his power, but what I'm saying, as far as what I'm seeing, he hasn't done anything spectacular from what I've seen in his career. Most of the time when he's going against somebody who can box a little bit, he looks kind of normal, gets outboxed a lot, certain times, takes a lot of rounds off. Yeah, and Virgil Ortiz. He was supposed to get a bag with Virgil Ortiz. Waited like 2 or 3 times to fight Virgil. So he's definitely a dog. That's why it's hard to say if I think he has a chance in this fight. You know what I'm saying? Just to be real with you. Not because I think Boots is trash or nothing like that. Uh, I just think Stanionis is a champion. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bro, it's a 50-50 fight. It's still the pros. And these guys really haven't fought each other's style like that. So yeah, it's a lot different now. Yeah, he definitely deserved to fight though. Yeah, if it was up to Stanionis, he would have fought Jaron Ennis and Earl Spence probably years ago. That's why Turkey Al-Sheikh is changing the game right now. It's stuff getting rolling. He might not affect everything, but he gonna have a domino effect. And we're gonna see a lot of these boxers fight. That's why I'm definitely not gonna say people are ducking as far as that. It's not. I think less of that is going away. Um, in my mind, you can only be a guy who's ducking if you're turning down certain opportunities as far as I don't know, it's just certain situations because the De Los Santos situation is different. Yeah, he is. Been waiting on him to fight for a minute. And he gotta make an impact though. I didn't As far as that my straight fight I seen from him, I ain't like that fight from him. I thought he looked bad in that fight. My straight did come to fight though, I ain't gonna lie. But I didn't like that fight from Stanionis. I didn't like that one. I think it was because of his activity though. He came in there flat because later on in the fight he was looking better. In later rounds, I think he was just flat. I put that in activity, but he still hasn't fought since last year. I'm like, I don't know, man. Activity might be. It's been a lot of guys looking kind of rusty in early in fights. Like I know Stephen Fulton was rusty the other fight, but Figueroa fight he was good. So maybe Stanionis is good going into this fight. But he did look like he had some weight to get off. I wasn't paying attention to him as far as his size recently, how small he is. What's today? Wednesday? We gonna see how skinny he is tomorrow. If he looks a little drained tomorrow, that's gonna be a red flag, but it wouldn't be something to worry about. He probably been out a year. So I think he fought like last May or something. Could affect him, but I don't know. Weight cut should be good though. But yeah, a lot of these guys deserve these type of fights. I want to see him in the mix. And I'm glad he took it. I told a lot of people last year they didn't believe me, but I said, you know, Stanionis said he'll take the same type of deal Brian Norman Jr. wants. It's a couple of extra dollars and a different location outside of Philadelphia. Took the same offer. I think I had said that on a video where I was talking about Brian Norman Jr. and Boots, but you know, it wasn't too many people paying attention to Stanionis around that time. People was talking about he was ducking, and that was like around probably September, October. And they were like, man, Stanionis ducking. I'm like, nah, he just said that he'll fight Boots. I said, I don't think nobody's ducking. And that's when Boots' dad came out today. But I don't know if it was today, it was this week. He said that, you know, a lot of guys want to fight Boots now. based off the performance he had against Karen. But I don't think that's true because I don't think that's true because um Stanionis was trying to fight him before he fought Karen the second time. And Boots dropped Karen the second fight. I know a lot of people said Boots didn't look good the second fight. I'm starting to question how many people actually seen the first fight between him and Karen. Cause I remember me and PD, bro. To be honest with y'all, around this time last year, me and PD was talking about Karen versus Boots, and we was like, man, that was a tough fight, man. That dude Karen was boxing Boots well. And PD was like, yeah, you seen that? And everybody was like, nah, man, Karen was running. We was like, running? Telling you can ask PD right now. He'll tell you. We said this last year. People was telling us that Karen was running in the first fight. We're like, bro, Karen wasn't running in the first fight. Yeah, standing on this fight anybody. Anybody. And I'm gonna tell you something else, PD. I'm glad you said that. This is kind of weird, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this because ain't nobody else gonna talk about this. The fact that PBC let Stanionis fight Bruce Ennis after Bruce Ennis just left PBC. That says a lot about a lot of things. I don't know what it means yet because I haven't processed it yet, but the fact that PBC let Bruce Ennis fight Stanionis less than 12 months after he didn't left less than 12 months after he left PBC, that's insane. That's insane. Sounds like we got a couple of promoters still in the way. Because Stanionis' promoter said, hey, let's run that fight. That's why I want to hear the purse, because I want to know how much money he got to go over to the zone and fight Boots. Not to be messy or nothing. I just want to see as far, because people was talking about the business a lot last year. I don't know if people understand it or not, but over the last 6 to 8 months, people been talking about Boots and who he's going to fight at a lot. And Stanionis' name was a name I threw out there. I haven't really talked about that because, people think I toot my own horn, but I don't. I'm very humble. But Stanionis was a name I threw out there. I don't know if everybody knows that, and this is my first time actually talking about this because I don't really brag about what I know and stuff, but most people might think I do. I mean, bro, that's sad, bro. You can be correct about something, people will think you bragging because you're correct. Like, bro, what's wrong about being truthful about something? I'm not gonna talk about something I don't know. You want me to get up here and cap about something I don't know about? You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand that. They want me to get up here and cap. But if you look at Stanionis' situation, he didn't win across over there to the zone. So I'm trying to figure out, what about everybody else? I just want to see the purse he got. How much was the purse, man? Because if the man got the same amount of money, Boots don't fight enough for me. He should be fighting 3 times a year, beating the guys, chanting in his weight class. Yeah, I think he gonna fight 3 times a year though. I think he gonna fight. He fought twice last year. It would have been 3 times if he would have been with Eddie. He fighting 3 times. He gonna fight 3 times a year. I think that's the same thing Shakur gonna do. That's the good thing I like about Eddie. Eddie gonna have him fight about 3 times a year. That's what I'm saying, man. PBC dropped the ball, bro. PBC dropped the ball. That's why Elijah Garcia looking so bad. He going out there. They got him fighting guys that he should not be in the ring with. I don't know why they think these fighters over here like Kyron Davis and Terrell Goucher, those are not gatekeepers. Y'all try to turn the wrong fighters into a gatekeeper. They got prospects over there. I don't know. PBC kind of wild, bro. They be having prospects fighting legit contenders. I ain't gonna lie. Some guys can't go over there. I know they don't fight a lot, but the stuff they've been doing lately, it's like, bro, y'all gotta go over there and fight. You go over there. Look at Gary Antoine Russell. Now he's a guy that came off a loss and got a chance to fight for a belt. But the performance was not as bad as people made it seem. And his last performance kind of said that. It's already been forgotten about already. Yeah, he got robbed, bro. And the fact that nobody cares, bro, it's disgusting. The fact that nobody cares is disgusting, man. They're going to have to bring that AI judging in or something. They're going to have to. The AI judging that Turkey Al-Sheikh doing, he going to have to do it. That fight right there it confirmed it. You're going to have to do an AI judging. I don't care if it's just based off a comfort box. They got to change something. That Goucher fight was terrible, bro. You can't watch boxing like that. And that was a big fight. But you can't put Garcia in a situation where, he's fighting guys who, bro, like I said, going into the fight, Terrell Goucher, everybody that Goucher's been in the ring with, he's always their toughest fight. Always. They asked Tim Tszyu who his toughest fight was, Goucher. If y'all ain't see the Adames versus Goucher fight last year, it didn't look like that last fight Adames had. Adames wasn't in the ring like that. He was struggling. Yeah, so they out there robbing people. It's crazy. I understand PBC trying to build up a fighter, but bro, don't put him in a situation like that. Put him in the ring with some of them guys. I don't know what weight class they at. 60. Man, I don't know. You got to figure it out, bro. Put him in the ring with some of them guys. Hamza Shiraz was fighting. Tyler Denny or somebody. But nah, they trying to have this guy fight people that just fought Carlos Adames. So PBC stuck Elijah Garcia in the ring with a guy who gave Carlos Adames a tough fight just 12 months ago. That's why I said always, like, them not fighting a lot, like the guys at PBC not fighting a lot. They could be dominating, and they do have better talent, but gotta be active, man. It's almost like getting a football player and telling him, yeah, we only gonna have 4 games a year. I know you used to playing like 10, 15 games growing up your whole life, but we're gonna cut it down to 4. You're gonna be like, I'm only getting ready for 4 games a year? How you gonna get better like that? That's only a preseason. Can't get better like that. They don't do that in any sport, man. Any sport. But boxing, they get these guys fighting at a high pace. Guys is fighting 200 or 300 times growing up. Then they get to their 20s and 30s. Now they fighting once a year, once every 2 years. Yeah, you gonna destroy your own boxer like that. I don't know what kind of investment you get to it. Hey, people talking about an investment. I don't know what kind of investment you get where you get the investment, then you sit it in the closet and let it get dusty. That ain't no, that's not an investment. That's a collection. That's not an investment. So yeah, PBC gotta figure out that problem they got, man. I don't know if they gonna sit around and click up with Dana White and see if they can get some people that's gonna be active in their little league or whatever. But yeah, man, it's a lot of guys right now concerned about not being active the way they should be. And people have already wasted a lot of years. We're in 2025 right now, and it's been 5 years since the shutdown. And a lot of those guys didn't fight in 2020 or 2021. A lot of guys didn't fight till 2023. So a lot of years have already been wasted as far as careers. So that's why you have so many fights being made right now at a high pace. That's why you have a Canelo and Crawford being made. This is why you have people talking about Boots versus Virgil Ortiz and other fights like that. Got to get made right now. If it don't, it may not ever happen. You got a lot of apps getting shuffled. You don't know what's going on with the promoters. It's a lot of different things going on behind the scenes. From what I'm hearing, it's a lot of boxers that's not big names. I'm gonna say this too because people gonna realize this. I'm gonna drop a huge hint right now for anybody who's listening. It's a lot of boxers right now that's not big names that are, I'm telling you, they are hungry and waiting for this Dana White situation so they can make a name for themselves. It's a lot of guys who feel like boxers have been spoon fed. And you got some guys who can walk off the street that feel like they can make an impact. They just need 12 rounds and that's it. 10 rounds. It's a lot of guys right now. We're going to see the example coming up soon because a lot of people don't know it, but they have this tournament coming up. I don't know when the tournament is. It might be this weekend. When that Grand Prix tournament is. I'm going to try to see if I can go live for it. I know when nobody think about doing. Oh, that's next week. So when is April? So next Thursday, the Grand Prix, the boxing tournament that Turkey Al-Sheikh is putting together is going to be starting next week. So I'm gonna definitely I'm gonna go live for that if I can. I gotta figure out where we can watch it at, but I'm gonna go live for that. It's a lot of fighters that signed up for the professional boxing league tournament. The tournament, the boxing tournament with Turkey Al-Sheikh and Riyadh season. That's gonna be huge. It's a lot of people that want something like this in boxing. It's been a lot of boxing fans that have been asking for something like this for years. I'm talking about people that have been watching boxing for a long time. They've been wanting to see another Super Six. I mean, let's see. Let's see. Boxing. Yeah, they've been wanting to see another Super Six, but this is gonna be better than Super Six though. They're gonna have like, I want to see like 200 people participating, 3 different weight classes. I think it's gonna be like 196 people, 192, something like that. So this is gonna be an epic situation, man. I can't wait to see this. some big things. And I don't know why, but it seems like I haven't looked into it too much. I have, but I haven't because there's other things coming out. I'm behind on a lot of news, but it is what it is. Not really behind, but as far as on my clock, in my mind, kind of behind. But I don't know. They got Lennox Lewis involved with it, so we gonna see what's going on. But this is definitely something huge for boxing that a lot of people not discussing. But you might have a star come out of this. We've seen a lot of people recently, like the guy Boychuk. A lot of people are making a lot of noise about. He got knocked out by a guy who was on a contender. A guy who was on the contender. Brandon Adams went out there and knocked him out. We've seen people like Sergio Mora off stuff like this. I know that wasn't like a tournament like this, but it was a tournament still. So it was tournament style. These were professional boxers. These were guys who came into boxing and made a name for themselves. Sergio Mora was a dog growing up. But this is gonna be a very good league though, man. I like how they're putting this together. Definitely like how they're putting this together. Yeah, a lot of people been waiting on this. But yeah, man. But back to what I was saying earlier. But I've been hearing a lot of people say as far as Brian Norman Jr. and a lot of people been taking shots about Atlanta too, as far as our boxing and stuff like that. I don't know why people be making boxing about cities and stuff like that, but I'm from Atlanta, so for people to sit up here and say, "Oh, Brian Norman Jr. only got 200 fans in Atlanta and stuff like that," bro. First of all, every city has boxers, and most cities don't get support from most boxers don't get support from cities. I know people try to act like Brian Norman Jr. don't have fans in Atlanta or whatever, but most boxers, whether they're big time or not, they don't have they don't have the city shut down like that. Like it's only certain boxers that do that. Like Tank or whatever, like not even Ryan, he's not known for where he's from. It's only certain boxers who really have a mystique behind them as far as being popular in certain cities, but ain't no cities really just getting behind certain boxers like that. I'm talking about authentically, not just on well, we ain't got nothing else going on. It be a lot of that going on. But yeah, I've been hearing people say that recently as far as taking shots as far as saying that, the boxing in Atlanta is it's not that many fans and stuff like that. Man, I've seen plenty of boxers who's been at the top of their game and certain cities have not been gotten behind them. Everybody don't have a crowd like Terrence Crawford. The way Terrence Crawford gets support in Nebraska, it's not the same way everywhere else. It's just not. I mean, you can see that regardless. You can definitely see that. But this is why I've never been a fan. And people have proved my point on this. This is why I've never been a fan of guys calling certain people out. Because once you call somebody out and you press them, people think that, oh, once you call somebody out, you should just make whatever deal you get offered. I ain't saying that with De Los Santos or nobody. But if you in a lose-lose situation and somebody talking about you winning something, especially like getting paid a certain way and fight for a belt, and you was in a lose-lose situation, coming off injuries and everything and losses, bro, how you gonna turn that down? How are you gonna turn that down? But this is why I say I'm starting to realize right now. People not gonna like me for saying this, but it is what it is because everybody else ain't gonna say it. But the way that Boots was calling out Crawford all these years, now people that's fans of Boots don't like the way that Brian Norman Jr. is calling out Boots. Haven't y'all noticed that? The same thing that Boots them was doing. Now people don't like what Brian Norman Jr. doing. Oh, he clout chasing. Oh, he doing it, bruh. Y'all, how's he clout chasing when he trying to fight the man? I don't understand that. How is that clout chasing? We just gonna act like Crawford ain't never tried to fight Boots. We just gonna act like that man ain't going $1 million worth of game and had a discussion already. He could have just been like, man, I ain't trying to talk about that. He could have just did what Canelo do. Canelo be waving dudes off, talking about how they ain't never did nothing, going in on dudes. Everybody be co-signing. Everybody co-sign that. And I'm gonna say something else too. And I wanted to say this, and I'm gonna say this too. And I don't need no cosign for this. I know I gotta stand on everything on my own, but I gotta say this too. I've been saying this a lot lately, and I gotta say this. I understand people gonna pick certain sides and fights and everything like that. I understand that, but bruh, and this dude get a lot of respect in boxing. Canelo gets a lot of respect, but bruh, people gotta quit talking about him like he Floyd Mayweather or something. And I just gotta keep saying that. They talk like this man really beat Floyd, bro. They talk about this man like he really beat Floyd. Now, mind you, now listen to this now. Terrence Crawford is a two-time undisputed fighter. Should be undisputed 50 times by now. And politics, when shuffling fighters and making it easier for other guys to get undisputed in 2 fights. Um, so Crawford, two-time undisputed guy, should be more than that. Now the man called out Charlo and everything else before he even fought, before even people even thought about him fighting Boots. The man called out Charlo and everything and said, I want to fight Charlo. So mind you, if the man would have fought Charlo at the point where he was calling him out, he would have fought Charlo and he would have fought Earl Spence after that. So those all the fights he was trying to make happen. He's not in a generation with Boots Ennis. He's not even close. So for people to come out of nowhere and be like, man, he should fight Boots, man. He ducking Boots. What I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is I'm hearing a lot of Crawford can't do this, but Boots can. Especially when it comes to like 54. I heard so many people recently talking about how Crawford can't do nothing at 54. And I'm not talking down on Boots. I'm just calling out the cap. Like I said, I'm gonna be the only one calling it out, so that's what I gotta do. It is what it is. Um, but as far as what I'm hearing right now, I just gotta think these things out before I say it. I don't just want to say anything. But with the Crawford situation, people are really going out of their way to discredit this man's career. You got Boots out here saying that this man needs a tune up. He needs a tune up, a warm up for Canelo. Nobody else needed a warm up for Canelo. If you look at the fights a lot of these guys took before they fought Canelo, it's actually embarrassing. Look at the guys that people was fighting to get ready for Canelo. Charlo fought Castano to get ready for Canelo. Come on, man. Like, what are we talking about? But his dad spoke facts though. He was like, he feel like he could make it happen. But for people to make it seem like it's impossible for Crawford to beat Canelo, if he beat Canelo, that's gonna confirm that he don't need to fight none of these dudes. If Crawford beats Canelo, that's gonna confirm everything. He don't need to fight none of these other guys. I'm not saying that because I'm scared or something like that. I just know what time it is. I just said it about Tank recently. I already know what time it is. Once people run into some trouble, people gonna start jumping off ship. I know what time it is. But to be trying to doubt somebody who already went out there and made it happen, that's insane to me. I'm hearing everybody talking about Canelo like he the boogeyman, bruh. All the tough fights Canelo done been in been close fights. Let's go ahead and let's cut it out. We still talking like it's 2015. All the fights that Canelo been in been close fights. He had a couple of knockouts that people can't forget. This man fight every 2 years. They talking about a knockout from 10 years ago. Really 5 years ago, but really longer than that. But man, please. Terrence Crawford knocked out plenty of guys recently. Now, mind you, we got guys who've been getting knockouts recently that people just can't remember. Terrence Crawford been getting knockouts recently. People can't remember that. They can remember how Ryan Garcia did Haney, but they can remember nothing that Terrence Crawford did. And I want to say something else too. I'm gonna make this clear. Because like I said, people been taking shots on certain things. And I want to point this out because nobody else is gonna point this out, but we have a lot of people from Philadelphia who have certain opinions about Terrence Crawford. And that's cool. You know, they support Boots Ennis, that's fine. But I'm gonna say something else too that a lot of people ain't called out. I'm gonna tell you why they should be the biggest supporter. If you're a person from Philadelphia, you should be the biggest supporter of Terrence Crawford. I'm gonna tell you why. If you support Philadelphia boxing and you're from Philadelphia and you're a fan of Boots, I'm gonna tell you why you should support Terrence Crawford. Didn't Terrence Crawford stop Hank Lundy? Ain't Hank Lundy a big time boxer from Philadelphia? So if Hank Lundy, unless you think Hank Lundy's a bum, maybe Philadelphia thinks that Hank Lundy's a bum. Because I hear a lot of people saying that, oh, Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody. Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody. So does Philadelphia think that Hank Lundy is a bum? Because I thought when I seen Terrence Crawford fight Hank Lundy, that's when I found out that Terrence Crawford was him. So I'm confused. When I seen Terrence Crawford fight Hank Lundy, I thought Hank Lundy was a very good fighter. When I seen him fight Hank Lundy, I said, whoa, this dude's one of the best I've seen, possibly ever. How do we have people that's from Philadelphia that seen him fight Hank Lundy? They know that Hank Lundy is a good fighter. They know that Terrence Crawford stopped him. But then they'll look at Terrence Crawford's resume and say he ain't fought nobody. So Hank Lundy a bum now? That's crazy. That's wild, man. They think Hank Lundy is a bum. That's insane. That is insane. Think about that. One of the best boxers to come out of the city, who has a decent resume. He's fought everybody, fights anybody at any time. So, it's not going to, the resume not going, the record not going to look spectacular, but good fighter though, and fought Crawford in his prime. So that right there kind of confuses me. It's like, bro, is it biasness now, bro? Because to be on a real, to be real with you, it don't matter who it is. It can be any boxer or anybody. It can be a boxer or a fan. Anybody from Philly that don't feel like Terrence Crawford is that good, you saying that Hank Lundy is a bum then. You got to admit that Hank Lundy is a bum. Because if you look at Terrence Crawford's resume, you see that he stopped Hank Lundy in the 5th round. And Hank Lundy is a Philadelphia fighter who hard as nails, fight anybody. And you say, oh man, Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody. He don't fight nobody. He be ducking. Oh, you saying that Hank Lundy a bum then? Okay. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, what? I'm like, hold on, bro. Hank Lundy from Philadelphia? So most of the fans from there got a chance, and that was a big time fight. So most of the fans from there got a chance to see Terrence Crawford fight before most of the world knew who he was. Dang, boy. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm lost on that one. I'm lost on that one, boy. I might have to play Morgan Freeman on that one. Man, I'm lost on that one.
Yes, you do. You smoke crack, don't you?
Well, they got to. That's crazy to me, boy. I've been seeing that lately. I'm like, whoa. Hold on, man. I'm like, hold on. Ain't Lundy from Philly? Cause I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know why, but I could tell a lot of fighters that I've been growing up watching have been guys that's been from Philly. Like the way guys fight from Philly is, I don't know. I guess that's the style I like most. But most of the time when I see a fighter got a unique style, like they end up being from Philly. Kevin Farmer, a lot of guys. But that caught me off guard though, to actually see that. I had to think about that today. Hank Lundy is a guy that's from Philly, and he's on Terrence Crawford's resume. He's he's a good fighter. I like Hank Lundy. And for him to go out there and get stopped by Terrence Crawford in the 5th round, and for people from Philly to act like they don't know who Terrence Crawford is, or that he's that's crazy. And to also act like, Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody. If you really know boxing, you're not going to say that Hank Lundy is a bum. So when you have guys that's from there saying, oh, he ain't fought nobody, bro, you saying Hank Lundy's a bum, man. That's one of the fights that kind of helped him get to where he at now. That's confusing to me. If I ever seen something that was confusing, that's confusing. I would never understand that one. Once I figured that out today, I said, wow. I can come up with so many words for that situation, but That belongs in a sci-fi movie. Yeah, that's crazy to me. I'm telling y'all, the craziest fact I ever heard today was that one of the biggest fights that Terrence Crawford had in his career was Hank Lundy, a guy from Philadelphia. So if you're from Philadelphia and you follow boxing, especially local boxers, you know who Hank Lundy is. So if Terrence Crawford goes out there and fights him, because people will say, well, Hank Lundy ain't that good. Bro, he fought Jose Zepeda in what, 2021? Went the distance with him. The dude has fought everybody. He fought Ardaliev and everybody, man. Dude's fought everybody. Delorme, he's fought everybody. Beltran, people probably don't even know who Beltran is. Victor Postol, he's fought everybody, man. Trust me. Trust me. A better gatekeeper than Gabe Rosado. I'll say that. People think that Hank Lundy is a better fighter than Gabe Rosado in my eyes. No disrespect to Gabe Rosado. I'm not taking any shots. Hank Lundy a better fighter than Gabe Rosado in my eyes. Because Hank Lundy, he really could have more losses. They really want him in the 20s, but he performed better than what he was supposed to. That's why he got a lot of majority decisions and split decisions. So when a guy like that, you see Terrence Crawford fight a guy from Philadelphia already, and he ain't getting no credit. They ain't finna give Terrence Crawford no credit for fighting no boots. And anybody that disagree with that, all right, that's cool. But I'm telling you that right now. And that's proof right there that none of these guys is finna give Terrence Crawford credit if he go out there and fight boots. That's not me hating. That's not me not wanting to see the fight or nothing like that. I'm just giving y'all proof. Anybody want me to confirm or repeat that, I will. Hank Lundy is a fighter from America who is so good that they can't even keep him as a gatekeeper. They want to make him a gatekeeper that fight prospects, but he's too good to fight prospects. And this is a guy who lost to Terrence Crawford. He lost to Terrence Crawford by knockout. Then after that, they thought that he was finished. He went on to win his next 3 fights. Went the distance with a couple of elite prospects. But then you got guys in Philly like, man, Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody. So Hank Lundy a bum? Don't tell me. I ain't even from Philly. And I know Hank Lundy. And I know he a good fighter. He a bum now? Man, dude, I know dudes ain't trying to sell tickets like that, bro. Ain't no way. Matter, the next time I see Hank Lundy put some interviews up, I need to be seen in the comment section, bro. This the bum who fought Terrence Crawford, because that's the way people talking. They talking like he's a bum who fought Terrence Crawford, which is disgusting. I know this might be off topic like a mug, but it's not. This is one of the top fighters you can find that came out of Philadelphia the last few years. Because I'm going to tell you right now, win or lose, it ain't too many people that got a resume like Hank Lundy. Win or lose. Yeah, he's fought a few people. Yeah, they definitely tried to turn him into a gatekeeper. And if you look early in his career before he fought Molina, he was a real prospect, a real fighter. So yeah, he was definitely known. So Terrence Crawford went out there and fought Hank Lundy, stopped him in the 5th round. A little old dude who wasn't even covering boxing like that, wasn't even paying attention to boxing, just on my casual stuff. Knowing that this dude right here is an elite fighter, I'm like, man, this dude Terrence Crawford just went out there and destroyed Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy a good fighter too. I'm like, dang. So yeah, that confuses me, bro. That really does. That really does. I'm confused about that. I really am. I really am. That's literally telling everybody, hey, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. These people out here calling Hank Lundy a bum. But then you got people that's you got people that's cool with Hank Lundy, probably. That'll sit up here and get on. If you ask them about Terrence Crawford's resume, oh, Terrence Crawford ain't fought nobody. So Hank Lundy or nobody? Oh no, he a good fighter. Well, he on Terrence Crawford's resume. No, it's just that Crawford ain't fought nobody, man. Huh? What? I don't think people understand what I'm saying. It's a lot deeper. It might sound like I'm just talking just to talk, but trust me, bro. Trust me. Didn't even want to get on here and say that. And I thought about that before getting on here. I be having so many thoughts about this stuff going on because it's so much faking going on. It's too much cap and boxing still. I mean, even though Turkey Al Sheik is trying to make everything, out in the open and up front, it's still things like commissions and sanctioning bodies and everything else going on. You still got promoters out here acting like they in a circus. Like they in a ring, like a ringleader for a circus or something. So these guys it's too much going on. You know what's crazy is the truth in boxing is actually better than actually coming out here and just trying to make it seem like. But what you're gonna realize is a lot of these prospects that a lot of these guys are getting, they're only getting certain prospects because these guys look good on a milk carton or whatever. To some of these promoters, I'm just telling you, that ain't how I'm looking at things. I'm just telling you, because most of the time when people are talking about when it comes to Ryan Garcia, it's about looks over the skills. The looks come way before the skills, so and from what I've seen, men or women don't care in that situation, even when it comes to Tank. So it definitely looks does matter when it comes to boxing. You might not think so, but trust me. Everything they comment about, some of these people can't go through a fight without making a comment about how somebody's legs are skinny or something like that. So trust me, looks is all these people talk about. It's a lot of factors when you go into promoting a fighter. But a lot of that stuff's starting to go away though. If you bring in a Dana White, all that stuff about, oh well, this guy gotta fight this person because this many sales and stuff. Okay. You really supposed to look at it like it's if you're really fighting on a platform, if I'm a fighter that's on Golden Boy or I'm on PBC, okay, if I'm the guy who can bring in the most money, or my job is to get paid accordingly, but you know, I'm supposed to do that. I ain't supposed to be up here like, oh well, this other guy, I know he earned his opportunity, but he ain't did enough yet. How he gonna do enough if he ain't been in there? He ain't been in there with the big guys yet. The only way you can make a name for yourself is by being in there with the big guys. I mean, you can do it by building it on your own, but most of that is gonna be because of bad publicity. People saying what you can't do. Look at Abdullah Mason right now. I was telling people last year, this dude a prospect. Everybody out here like, man, he trash. Then I'm seeing other prospects go out here and get one knockout. Everybody like, oh man, these guys is good. These guys is next up. Next up to who? Next up to who? So yeah, man, it's my duty this year to have a segment every live. Every live, I'm gonna have a segment to where I talk about Terrence Crawford every day because for some reason people acting like these other guys are lining up to fight Canelo next. These other guys ain't trying to move up one weight class, two weight classes. Trust me, these boxers, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to prove that they're better than Terrence Crawford, whether they fight him or not. It's so many fighters in boxing right now. You got Turkey on the sheet and so much money going around. You can prove that you're better than this guy. You can. Just got to fight. And guess what? You're going to have a better opportunity than Crawford did because you're not going to have to argue about sides of the street. Congratulations. Thanks to him. Because he's the one that went over there to Turkey on the sheet first and kind of validated him. People will say, well, you know, Usyk and Fury and those guys over there. Yeah, but we're talking about Americans. I know Wilder was over there, but I'm talking about as far as pound for pound right now, ready to go, first one. First one. So a lot of these fights that's going to be happening with all this hype going on, it's because of this guy. There wasn't no hype around Virgil Ortiz or Boots Ennis when Earl Spence was doing his thing. People wasn't lining up Earl Spence with Virgil Ortiz and Boots, talking about that every day. That's why I said people was really missing out on content. That's why I say when people are behind on certain things, they could have been easily saying, hey, what about Boots? Boots can fight Virgil Ortiz. Or he can fight Spence or these guys. He can fight Crawford. Nobody was talking about that back then. A lot of people they missed their window on that opportunity. Now they trying to catch on to it and trying to bring up the Boots and Crawford thing. But Crawford finna fight Canelo, man. And I hate the fact how everybody want to lay down and they tuck their tail for Canelo like he an undefeated fighter that never been dominated. But then they'll sit up here and bring up other fighters like, oh, these guys ain't trying to fight nobody. This dude literally told you he ain't trying to fight nobody. And the Crawford fight, y'all didn't even want that fight. So you got people now that's so fanned out and getting exposed because they want to talk loud. Last year, they all this about Crawford being small and, well, Canelo a weight bully then, according to what y'all saying. So according to y'all, Crawford's so small that if Canelo fight him, he'll weight bully. And these are Canelo fans saying this. Like, just don't want nothing to happen in boxing. But William Skull, he good. Crawford, oh, no, I don't want to see that. I'll watch William Skull, though. He ranked. Never seen him fight before, but, you know, the sanctioning body, they said he ranked, and that man just fought an 8-round fight recently. So Canelo finna fight a guy for 2-time undisputed who was just fighting 8-round fights. Fighting rounds like a prospect. And for some reason, he got ranked number 1, fighting 8-round fights. Where they do that at? So this guy became one of the best fighters in the world fighting 8-round fights? Against nobody we never heard of? Not only is he fighting 8-round fights, we ain't never heard of the guys he fought. But then they try to come out here, well, Benavidez, you know, he got the belt from Bivol. Yeah, of course he got the belt from Bivol. That's the first time he got the belt from anybody. The last guy, y'all said he can do whatever he wants. So, yeah, of course you're going to strip the belt now. That's not news. That's why I ain't posted. That's not news. That's not news. Those are games. Those are not news. That's been going on way too long. But I had to sit back really and realize, bro, these people are delusional. If they think that I'm going to sit back here the rest of my life. That's why I hope Terrence Crawford sleeps this guy. If Terrence Crawford goes out there and sleeps Canelo, it's going to be a lot of people that can't comment on boxing ever again. I'm not going to be listening to it. I'm already not listening to a lot of stuff people saying. Be honest with you. I used to love listening to boxing, but these dudes is, they don't want they chasing the views. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? That whatever works, you know what I'm saying? That's good, but we didn't find out Lamont Roach was gonna have a close fight with Tank by listening to what these dudes saying. So I'm not jealous or anything like that. I'm not, trust me. I like to listen to boxing podcasts where I can find out how good somebody actually is, or I can find out what's real and what's fake. That's it. But people who sit up here for 30 years talking about Terrence Crawford ducking this person. The first generation fighter, he ducking. Second generation. They went from talking about Terrence Crawford was ducking guys who was born in the 80s, the 90s, now the 2000s. Think about that. They talking about Terrence Crawford has been ducking guys who was born in the 1980s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Think about that. And I'm not being funny either. That's why I told people, I said, man, it ain't that Hank Lundy analogy, it just proves everything. You got people who beg Terrence Crawford to fight Errol Spence that won't give him credit for the fight. It's like, it's a waste of time. Of course he should go do whatever he wants. You just wasted his time. You ask the man to do one thing and then you don't give him credit for it. You wasted his time. You wasted his time. I can't relate to that stuff. I've never been that jealous of a fighter. Even fighters I don't like. I've never been that jealous of a fighter. Because usually if a fighter is like a bad person or something, I mean, it's going to catch up to him eventually. And it has to a lot of fighters. It's going to catch up to him eventually. And most of these guys are not mentally strong, so when they start to get a little bit of resistance or criticism from fans, they're not the same. They retire early. So we've seen that before. We've seen guys have mental health retirements recently. So I know how guys are when they can't handle the loss. But because I know last year people was talking about, oh man, Haney can't handle this. Bro, I seen dudes literally say, I'm retiring because I have mental health issues. I have a lot going on and everything else. After losses and before losses, especially after losses. Shoot, Tyson Fury just retired recently. Haven't y'all noticed that Tyson Fury just got whooped twice by a cruiserweight and the man retired in a truck that looked like it was on a hill somewhere? This man retired on a truck inside of a pickup truck. And nobody's like questioning that, like, man, what does he have going on? Now I can name a few fighters that they would have got whooped like that, and then 2 weeks later would have said, hey man, I'm retired, man. That's it. And then crack a joke at the end. So a lot of people are just proving right now that a certain fighters they was yelling about in the past, they don't care about those guys. So when y'all hear me say they don't care about those people, I'm talking about the people that was jumping up and down for Tyson Fury. They seen him retire in a pickup truck and they don't bring him up no more. At all. Nothing at all. Just like that. Career over. Boom. Then you got the media talking about he gonna come back. They went from, he gonna come back, it's not real. Then it goes to, well, I hope he comes back. I wish he would. He's gonna regret not taking that Joshua fight. These people been trying to build up fights for years, man. People starting to realize that now. but it's too late now because it's happening so fast. Bro, Boots Ennis fighting Stanionis this weekend. We just had everybody 6 months ago saying that nobody at 47 with a belt wants to fight Boots. And Stanionis was just at PBC last year with Boots. Boots left PBC and still got the Stanionis fight. This is major, major news. This is good. This means nobody's ducking him. I hope everybody knows that. Saying that somebody's off with money by a little bit, that's not somebody's ducking you. Sorry to say it. If Terrence Crawford was over there with Earl Spence and Earl Spence was like, man, I want 2.5. I ain't taking that 2. Okay, what a 0.5 at? That's what I'm gonna be saying. And I'm a Terrence Crawford fan. I'm gonna be like, bro, what that 0.5 at, dog? Make that happen. Think about that. We talking about a 0.5? In any scenario in life, that don't sound right. We arguing about a 0.5. You can use that analogy in the streets or in the classroom, the office, everyday life. So yeah, I never understood that. Never understood it. But it's gonna be a lot of changes being made. What people don't realize is it's easy to be the guy calling people out. It's harder to be the person that's getting called out. Because did y'all see how fast, and I'm not, I'm just talking about real news. If you understand, you'll understand. But did y'all realize how fast everything had turned once it was like the light had came off of Terrence Crawford, the spotlight was put on Boots for a little bit when it went from that Karen fight. Then it went from the Karen fight to what's going on, Native Wild Man? It went from the Karen fight, then it went to the Virgil Ortiz news coming out, the Teofimo news. They talking about Teofimo ducking him. I mean, he ducking Teofimo, he ducking Virgil. Just that fast. See, it's not easy. It's easy when you're calling people out. But when you have Brian Norman Jr., and then when you have Virgil Ortiz, Teofimo, all these guys calling you out at the same time, it's not really good. Because it's easy for everybody to call you out and say you ducking because it's 3 people trying to fight you at the same time. And most of those guys are not in your weight class. Oh man, that's good, man. Yeah, I was checking your video out. You can make some good mixtures, man. I gotta check one out. I gotta save one on, write one down, and make it myself. But I made a couple already though. But yeah, it's pretty wild when you look at the whole scenario though, as far as with Terrence Crawford. When I really looked at everything, and it's just I'm a Terrence Crawford fan, obviously, but when I looked at things just, unbiasedly, I'm like, hold on, this is getting out of hand right now, man, if you look at everything. Because now we have guys from America. America has a lot of sellouts when it comes to boxing. I'm just be real with you. A lot of black boxers, bro, be selling out, bro. They get online or get on in these interviews, and everybody are quick. They quick to talk about how Terrence Crawford ain't qualified to be a good boxer. I can't respect these guys. Oh yeah, it was good, man. It was good. I told you about that Hiskivist was something I had, but not with a blend though. I've had Hiskivist like with another blend with like 1 or 2 things, rolls or something else, but not with the mixture you had though. It was good though. Yeah, it was good. Made some good ones. I've been trying to find some, make on my own, but they don't make too many different ones like you make. Can't find those online. But I had to think about it though. I said, okay, let me think of any boxer right now. I just thought about all the boxers right now that are hyped up right now. I know everybody, people not gonna like this, but I'm gonna do some exposing. Let's think about every boxer that's hyped up right now in boxing that people are talking about is the best. We got Inoue, we got Bam Rodriguez, we got Boots. I'll just put those three names out there. We can add another name too, if anybody want to throw another name out there. I just put first three names that came to my mind: Boots, Inoue, and Bam Rodriguez. Shoot, throw Canelo in there too. Throw Canelo in there too. What has any of those guys done that Terrence Crawford ain't did? And let me ask you a question. If Terrence Crawford had the same resume they got, would you be saying that he was a pound for pound fighter? Absolutely not. You wouldn't. If Terrence Crawford had the resume that Boots Ennis have right now, and he just went 12 rounds with Karen twice, you would not be sitting up here talking about that he's one of the best fighters in the world and that he'll destroy Terrence Crawford. That's just it. That's a fact. And a lot of people don't want to tell the truth about that, but it is what it is. Terrence Crawford got a resume blowing out all these guys' resumes. We still talking about resumes? What resumes these guys got? I'm just trying to figure it out. Because usually when you have a good resume, that means the people you fought, they're somebody else's toughest fight. But usually these guys that a lot of these people fight, they getting pushed over. They ain't causing no real trouble. We seen what Gamboa did after he fought Terrence Crawford. Went 12 rounds with Tank. All kind of people he fought. People say he's a nobody on Terrence Crawford's resume. Don't know boxing. People who watch boxing every day, who cover boxing, people who are in boxing. They seen Gamboa go 12 rounds with Tank, 9 rounds on a torn Achilles. If you're an athlete, you know how bad that is. But they'll say, oh man, that's not good on the resume. Oh yeah, Usyk is Usyk is definitely up there. I can't compare him to Usyk. Usyk is. No, I'm just talking about as far as Usyk don't get his credit either. Not as far as Usyk. I wasn't comparing as far as the Usyk. Usyk is definitely a top guy. But I'm talking about as far as we have people out here like Native Wild, man. We have people out here. If you look at the pound for pound list, just the whole pound for pound, we have people out here that are quick to criticize Terrence Crawford like he's one of the worst boxers on the list. We have boxers and other guys that's criticizing him. We have boxers that's done nothing. We have boxers that might retire from boxing and they might not have a resume like Usyk or Crawford. I just heard recently that what's his name? Oscar De La Hoya said, "Oh yeah, Virgil Ortiz needs basically a tune-up." He was like, he need to fight a top 10 guy. He don't need to fight another tough fight. Oscar De La Hoya just said recently. I want y'all to listen to this. This is old news because he said it like a week or two ago, but it's breaking news. Oscar De La Hoya said that he doesn't want Virgil Ortiz to have another tough fight right now because it will shorten careers in boxing. Or not, I don't want to say a verbatim, word for word, but he was like shorten careers or it just wouldn't be good for a boxer's career. I mean, that sounds stupid. That sounds stupid because when you're a gatekeeper, when you're a guy like Hank Lundy, you fighting tough fights back to back to back on a short time frame. When you're a guy like Terrence Crawford, you're fighting tough fights back to back to back. And you're moving up in weight. So when people say, things like, bro, they just don't understand, man. They don't understand. They really don't understand. They don't understand. If you look, I'm just from what I'm talking about right now is when I hear people talk about Canelo Alvarez, and he's a great fighter, they talk about Terrence Crawford like he's a doormat or something. Like, just be lucky to be here. Last time I checked, Terrence Crawford was 2-time undisputed. Last time I checked, Terrence Crawford has done everything that people thought he wouldn't be able to do. Everything that Canelo's doing, people expected him to do because he's been the golden child even after he lost to Mayweather and Bivol. So to be honest with you guys, if Terrence Crawford was out here, when Terrence Crawford was talking about Canelo Alvarez in a nice, respectful way, I didn't think too much of it, but I was like, as a competitor, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yeah, he do respect the guy, so you can't hate on that. But when you got other people who ain't on Terrence Crawford level, talking like he needs to get on Canelo level, Canelo ain't on no level. Every tough fight Canelo been in, it's been a close fight. Every other fight, we already know how that went. But if you think about it, every tough fight Canelo been in, it's always been a close fight. It's the guys you don't know where he shows out at, or an old man like Kovalev, who will ruin the party by getting knocked out because he's trying to chase a bag. This dude, Kovalev, did some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in my life. We talking about chasing the payday. The only person I really seen go out of their way for a payday for Canelo was Kovalev. This man fought Canelo like a month after he just fought. And he's at an old age where he needs like at least, how they say you need 8 weeks. He needs 8 weeks. If you're like 40 years old, you need 8 weeks. Man, chasing the Canelo bag so much. Let me go out here and fight Canelo on a rehydration clause. And the man had to lose more weight than he was supposed to because the weight scale he stepped on, it had a different weight than the one he was using. Just all kind of weird stuff. So you go out there to weight drain and get knocked out. Now this whole mystique that Canelo just knocking out 175s because of Kovalev, it's there now. It's good for a guy like Crawford, but because he's going in the ring to fight this guy. But it's not good overall because if you didn't have any other guys that can compete with Canelo, it would make it seem like he was unstoppable. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I like when guys get their respect. He is Canelo Alvarez. He is considered the face of boxing. But I don't like the way people kind of leaning towards this Terrence Crawford thing. It's almost like if Terrence Crawford does go out there and stop Canelo, he's still not gonna get no respect. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if that happens, and we have boxers who are behind that type of energy, where they don't want to give the man credit after a Canelo win or something like that, if that does happen and he beats Canelo, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of these boxers, I ain't gonna say their name no more. Cause it's some kind of energy I'm seeing from these dudes. It's like, no, that ain't no competitor, bro. Because I've seen Terrence Crawford talk about similar fighters, and he's always said, oh, this guy's a good fighter, that guy's a good fighter, and that, and everything else. First fighter I seen him say that was trash was Teofimo. And I know he took some shots at Tank, but he didn't say Tank was a trash fighter, though. You got dudes who ain't even on Terrence Crawford level talking about, oh, man, he trash. Talking like he's beneath Canelo. Man, Canelo's on the hot seat, man. I don't know if y'all know it or not. And I like Canelo. I haven't even said this about Canelo. That's how much I like Canelo. I haven't even said this about him. But this dude been huffing and puffing like the big bad wolf his last 2 fights. The reason he couldn't get a knockdown his last 2 fights, the reason why he couldn't stop Berlanga or Munguia, because that gas tank ran empty around round 7 or 8. And no disrespect, because I don't feel like because you a guy who drinks or smokes. I've seen athletes who done extracurriculars, drink or smoke or whatever, and go out there and show out. So I don't think that's a big deal. But uh, when you going against Terrence Crawford and you talking about your gas tank and your stamina is questionable, and you huffing and puffing against Berlanga them trying to throw out that weak jab with your feet square, nah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's gonna look like Lamont Rose's first tank. And somebody gonna be taking a knee, and it ain't gonna be Crawford. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And I'm being serious. Canelo about to be 35 years old. I want everybody in the world right now to go and look at Oscar De La Hoya's fight when he was 35 years old. Go look at Oscar De La Hoya when he was 35 years old, when he fought, and who he fought at 35. And that'll answer all your questions right there. Canelo is going to be 35 when he fight Crawford. He's going to be 35 years old. And the bad part about Canelo turning 35, he's already talking about retirement. Terrence Crawford, when he was turning 35, he's talking about just getting started. He's talking about fighting the Canelo Alvarez at 38 years old. Canelo talking about, man, I'm talking about, he's trying to retire before he's 38. Two different type of fighters is going into this fight. And you got boxers out here talking about some easy fight for Crawford and stuff. Come on, man. For Canelo, that's crazy. Easy fight for both of these guys will sound crazy. I know why most of these guys are saying it. It's because they're Mexican, but Canelo ain't finna pick y'all because y'all Mexican. Y'all notice that too, right? Canelo don't go out here in the news and be like, hey, I'm finna pick this Mexican fighter because he's Mexican. He don't be doing that. A lot of these guys be doing that, but don't get it twisted, man. Canelo don't be going out his way for y'all like that, bro. I know y'all be fanning out saying that, oh, man, he gonna crush Crawford. I know you gonna support your Mexican brother, but like I said, man, this dude ain't checking for y'all like that. That man ain't start training Munguia until he knocked Munguia head off. Then he like, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you now. Canelo gonna do y'all the same way he did Munguia. He gonna take you in the ring, beat you up, then he gonna start training you. So I don't want to be mean of anything about when it comes to Canelo, but everything that people say about Floyd, you can say the same thing about Canelo. When it comes to managing fighters, when it comes to dealing with other fighters, when it comes to egos, when it comes to doing what I want, when it comes to the money, when it comes to a lot of different things. You can look at all the stuff he brings to the table. It's the same kind of stuff Floyd's done. And then I'm gonna tell you something else too. I think I'm gonna say that for another live. Most people they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. They don't want to hear that, but But similar in a lot of ways, though. Similar in a lot of ways, I'm telling you. For what I've seen recently, one thing I will say, since there's not a lot of people on here, I will say this. One thing I've seen recently that I'm gonna have to do a live on very soon is I'm hearing people say that, and y'all gonna see me do like lives on different times and stuff like that. It's gonna be like an hour or whatever. I'm gonna just talk about different topics. Cause I don't want to just do a whole long live talking about one topic. I got a lot of different things I want to talk about. So if y'all see me like shut a live down, I'm gonna try to do like a lot more lives through the day. But one topic I want to talk about is that Floyd and Canelo situation. I keep hearing people say that Floyd, Canelo is doing what he's doing right now because Floyd and he didn't want to lose his O, and people trying to do like Floyd did to protect his O. First of all, how the hell was Floyd trying to protect his O when you fans told Floyd to go fight Maidana again at an old age? Floyd was an old man. And these fans could have asked Floyd to fight anybody in the world. And the fans say, oh, we want to see you fight Maidana again. We think you lost. We don't know how to score a fight. The commentators were just doing so much yelling. The commentators over there, oh! And these people like, yeah. Ain't that crazy? I'm trying to figure out what other scenario you can be in when somebody screams and you scream. I guess when you walking in the dark or something. But that's all the commentators were doing. Oh, Maidana fight. Everybody, oh, Floyd was getting beat up, man. Maidana go out and do the same thing he did the first fight. And nobody says nothing the second fight. You fell for the trick. You got robbed. Floyd robbed the bank. You mad at me because Floyd used your boxing knowledge against you. Had you thinking that Maidana was beating him up the first fight. So he said, run it back. I can't think of no scenario with Canelo where all the fans asked Canelo to fight a guy and he just came out and fought him. I can't think of a scenario like that. Crawford, everybody wasn't thinking about him fighting Crawford. That topic wasn't coming up until later on. Everybody's asking to fight Benavidez. They wasn't asking to fight Crawford. It wasn't until later on that Crawford's name came up. But I seen that recently. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on now. I see. But if y'all notice what Oscar De La Hoya said, though, this man said, oh, we don't want, oh, that would be crazy for these guys to fight tough fights back to back. That'll shorten the guy's career. What do you think these gatekeepers been doing? And they talking about certain guys don't got a resume. Man, let me go look at this. This is insane. But I think that Boots and standing on this fight gonna be good this weekend, though. This all goes behind it. I'm just talking about some stuff that'll build it up. That's it. It ain't really no hype behind it right now, anyways, because I'm telling you, last year when I heard everybody talking about Brian Norman Jr., if y'all realize people are still talking about Brian Norman Jr. right now. So really, I ain't gotta really make no videos about what Brian Norman Jr. and Boots, because it's being made right now. That's the fight everybody want to see. They want to see standing on this, but it ain't no hype behind it, though. You got to think about it. Standing on this versus Boots is a fight that everybody been asking for. Now everybody act like they don't want. They acting like it was supposed to happen. Like, yeah. Like, nah, bro, this is something that was put together I thought that was going to be hard to make happen. The fact that this fight is happening now. Now, mind you, let me go through this now. Now, Oscar De La Hoya said, as far as taking hard fights. So let me go through this right now, right? So, Terence Crawford fought Hank Lundy. He fought Victor Postol. Then he fought John Molina. Felix Diaz, who's I think it was like a gold medalist or something. And Dongu was a champion. Jeff Horn was a champion. Jose Benavidez Jr., he stopped, who's never been stopped before. Charlo couldn't even stop him. Amir Khan, he knocked him out the same round that Canelo knocked him out. Mean Machine ended up stopping him. Kell Brook stopped him in the 4th round. Sean Porter stopped him. David Avanesian. David Avanesian is a big name on Boots' resume. That's a good name on Boots' resume. David Avanesian. So that's like a premier name on Boots' resume right now. It ain't too many names on the resume bigger than David Avanesian. That ain't nothing to argue about. Got Earl Spence on here. You got Israel Madrimov on here. So you could technically say the man has tough fights back to back to back. We're talking about strictly tough fights. We're not talking about no Leonard Bundles. We're not talking about no Luis Collazo. We ain't talking about those type of fighters. Those are like gatekeepers almost. We talking about real deal. And Collazo a good fighter and Bundu, but I'm just saying. These are names that people go to. Jeff Horn was the guy that Tim Tszyu fought. And Terrence Crawford was the first person to stop Jeff Horn. Manny Pacquiao couldn't even stop Jeff Horn. Why would Manny Pacquiao want to fight Terrence Crawford? Manny Pacquiao wouldn't even get no knockouts for real. Keith Thurman, that's why Keith Thurman, when he got knocked down by Manny Pacquiao, I said, yeah, stay out of the ring of with Earl Spence and keep with Terrence Crawford. But yeah, I was just shocked about a lot of that stuff I've been hearing lately. I'm like, bro, what do these people have going on out here, man? What is really going on? Yeah, they better make something happen though. The sport is not waiting around. These guys think that, you know, you gotta hype things up now. You ain't gotta hype everything up no more. It's good, trust me. But it's funny though, if Canelo goes out there, because if Canelo goes out there and gets beat by Crawford, it's not gonna hurt his career. Trust me, it's not gonna hurt his career. They gonna look past it like they did with other fighters. Some people don't even know that Ryan Garcia lost, even though the fight sold 1.2 against Tank. They don't. Some people don't even know he lost a fight before. So they can make it look whichever way they want to. But when I'm looking at this resume, I'm like, whoa, this is a terrible resume. Okay. Now, if he gets Canelo on this resume with a win, it's going to be hard for people to explain that. It's going to be very hard to explain this. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this is like a it's like the beginning of something I'm gonna talk about over the next couple of weeks. As we know, we have a fight coming up. We have a few fights coming up with like Ryan Garcia and Rolly and Canelo and Inoue and Jaime Munguia. It's a lot of fights. Devin Haney. A lot of fights coming up. It's a lot of guys starting to quiet down right now. It's a lot of people getting quiet right now. You're not gonna hear too much out of guys like Ryan Garcia and all these other guys. It's time to get in the gym. April came around fast, man. I don't know if people know it or not, but let me see. Let me check my calendar. In 3 weeks, we're gonna be looking at Canelo and all these guys preparing for some weigh-ins. It's gonna be a lot of fights coming up. It's a lot of guys getting quiet right now. All the noise starting to quiet down. The hyping up fights and everything is going away. It's gonna be a lot of changes going on. It's gonna be a lot of people taking losses. A lot of people picking up, moving, figuring out what's going on with the next fight. Stuff gonna get a lot faster. Trust me. People can't see it now, but like in the UFC, the guy Alex Pereira, He just went out there, one of the biggest names in UFC, just lost. You see how fast they moved on from that? It's gonna be a lot of that going on very soon. The dude lost, they like, oh well, move on. Still one of the biggest names. They're not finna drag out the talks about the rematch because he's a big name. He's one of the faces of UFC. They're not gonna drag out talks about the rematch or anything like that. They're just gonna move straight on, and that's what you're gonna see in boxing coming up. They're not gonna sit up here and, baby everybody who takes a loss. You're gonna get another opportunity. It's a lot of guys who take losses and get another opportunity. That's not gonna be a problem, but they're not gonna wait around on you to get ready though. That's gonna be an issue a lot of people are running into. You see Turkey Al-Sheikh, he's picking up the phone, asking guys about certain things. Are you ready? Are you ready? And then a lot of people was like, oh, it's a mistake that Turkey Al-Sheikh, that Martin Bacoli went out there and fought Joseph Parker on a couple of days' notice. No, he's not. That just shows his loyalty to Turkey Al-Sheikh. As far as Martin Bacoli went out there and fought, he would have fought Joseph Parker for a couple of thousand in sparring. So why would he not go out there and fight him for $500,000? Well, he would have did the same thing last year for a couple of thousand in a sparring match. So of course he's gonna go out there and risk it all. Especially when you have somebody in boxing who's taking boxing serious now. If I'm a guy who's been in boxing, everybody call me the boogeyman. And then I have a guy who's trying to invest in boxing. He's the most powerful person in boxing right now. And this is what I've been waiting on. And he's calling my phone. I'm gonna pick it up and see what time it is. And I'm a guy who's known of fighting anybody on the spot. My reputation gotta live up to his expectations. So you're gonna see a lot of people's expectations is not gonna be where they need to be. That's a lot of that, trust me. Even right now, Turkey Al-Sheikh has probably been around setting up fights probably 18 months? Even right now, Turkey Al-Sheikh knows. Now it's probably been about 18 months. Turkey Al-Sheikh knows that, hey man, all these dudes ain't trying to fight like that. I mean, they're ready, they're boxers, they want to fight, but all these guys got to get ready. You got people switching trainers, and they got legal issues. You got guys who suing promoters, and all these guys ain't ready to fight, man. They'll get online and tweet and everything else about who's ducking and stuff, but all these guys ain't ready to fight. And that's what Turkey Al-Sheikh finding out right now. Like, man, these dudes ain't trying to fight nobody. I got all this money and these dudes still playing around. You gotta think about it. All we've ever heard in boxing over the last few years is, man, the fans ain't trying to buy no fights. The fighters, they need to get paid, and the fans don't want to support the sport. They don't want to contribute to the sport because, the fighters need money, and if everybody's still in fights, how are the fighters going to get paid? And you have a guy that comes in and pays for everything, and people are still like, oh, well, I need this. Man, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You probably deserve a loss. The only thing I hope is the guys who've been playing around in boxing all these years, I hope it catches up to them. Not the boxers, but as far as the promoters, they've been playing around. They've been doing too much, man. Way too much. I got to get off of here and do a video about Jake Paul again. Jake Paul out here signing more female fighters. Do y'all know Jake Paul has signed over 10 fighters, over 10 female fighters in the last 3 weeks? This man out here fighting, he's signing all kind of female fighters right now. Jake Paul he's starting to realize, oh, we have a lot of female fighters out here who are pro ready, but they're not getting any investments. So all these promoters that say they know boxing and that Dana White this and Dana White that, well, guess what? Dana White was able to get women's UFC and women's MMA and get it going. I'll say this too. The girl Holly Holm, she was more famous in UFC than she was in boxing, and she was a world champion boxer. So when all these promoters say, "Oh well, Dana White, they don't know how to pay people and stuff like that," well, guess what? People like to watch females box. Everybody talking about how Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor did $75 million. I know that's cap, but let's just say that's true. Since everybody want to cap about it. Since they did $75 million, that means don't nobody want to watch these other guys then. If they doing $75 million, so. According to the experts out there, when they want to promote something and make it seem bigger than what it is. But since it's that big on the scale, then guess what? The promoters who didn't do that and didn't support the women fighters like they were supposed to, they failed. Even though I know they've done a lot of good things in boxing, and it's not easy. Bro, you still have to understand, Netflix had one opportunity to do a sporting event for boxing, and they nailed it. It was a home run. I know the broadcasting was bad because it kept lagging and whatever, but it was a home run. As far as how they did the fight, it was a home run. It was a guaranteed home run. And I know Turkey Al-Sheikh, he's a competitor too, so he's at home. Like, I know Jake Paul is not doing a better show than me. So if you look at the next show, when he did the Bivol and Bitter bib too, Turkey Al-Sheikh had those guys moving. As soon as the fight would end, they'll start the next fight. That's the one thing that people not giving Turkey Al-Sheikh credit for. He listens to what everybody's complaining about. And then once he sees what's going on and what's the problem, he'll make an adjustment. So you gotta give that some credit out here. A lot of these people, they won't give you any kind of adjustments as far as from fight to fight. If you feel like something's wrong or anything like that, they wouldn't really change it. But he went ahead and changed it, and that was a good thing. He's definitely listening. But they opened the doors for Jake Paul way too much, man. I think Jake Paul's calling way too many shots now. Not saying it's bad, but I'm saying he's starting to get a little more control than guys like Eddie Hearn and these other guys. I mean, they have control and they have a lot of push, but they haven't worked with many networks like he has. As far as direct deals, I know they've done crossover promotions or whatever, but direct deals with certain networks like Showtime, The Zone, and Netflix. Bro, Jake Paul got it in the bag right now. And he's doing female boxing. I know women's sports is not a big deal to a lot of people, but bro, I watched women's sports take UFC to the next level. UFC was not the UFC it is right now until they got Ronda Rousey in UFC. When they got her in UFC, that's when it became what it is now. Sorry to say it, but boxing still has to go to that level because they're still trying to build certain boxers up right now that they'll tell you they're a Hall of Famer, but they're trying to build them up. Male or female. So it's like, dang, you done had these boxers on the main stage the whole time, and you ain't found the right way to promote these people, and they've gotten 99% of the airtime, and they're always on pound for pound and everything else, but you still can't find a way for these guys to sell pay-per-views? But there's space in the game for Jake Paul, so you got to make it work. As a promoter, you got to make it work. And they starting to have a lot of struggles with that right now. A lot of promoters are struggling with trying to figure out how to manage all these boxers. Because, after a while, they get their favorites and it becomes a problem. Definitely becomes a problem. But I like what's going on right now. I definitely like what's going on. But at the top of the totem pole, you would have to say it's Usyk, Crawford. Slightly. I would put Inoue and Canelo like that next tier, but as far as like tier one, just clear across the board, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. People starting to show their age now, man. People starting to show their age now. If you look at most boxers when they were at their older age, like around Canelo's age right now, everybody was doubting them. Floyd Mayweather ain't have a loss, and he still was getting doubted. Andre Ward got doubted against Kovalev the first time and the second time. So it's not like because Canelo has 2 losses that I'm saying, oh well, he's not that good. No, that's not the reason. I'm saying they're not down this man at all. They're talking like he's 2-time undisputed. The undisputed that Canelo got was easy for me. Yeah, Don King was a beast. And he did a great job with women's boxers too. He doesn't get credit for that. I heard Oscar saying recently, if it wasn't for me, women's boxing would have went away or whatever. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, look how long that was when you start doing that though. And then to be honest with you, women's boxing didn't really start getting to where it is until now. I'll say with Carissa Shields, but she's a boxer. As far as the promotion, man, these other people got to step it up, man. They really do. They really do. They really do. Jake Paul's making too much of a name right now. But yeah, Don King was doing an excellent job at the women's fights he was doing. Didn't he have like Christy Martin? Yeah, it would have been a wrap back then for women's boxing if it wasn't for Don King, but you know, they're not gonna say that. They'll just talk about how, oh, Don King, he was a crook, he was greedy. What are these guys that's in boxing right now doing? Because they're not giving you the fights that you want to see. Last time I checked, when Don King was in boxing, y'all calling that the golden era, the golden age. That was the best era of boxing. But he a bad promoter? Make that make sense. But then what about these guys right now who's letting Tyson Fury retire without fighting Anthony Joshua? Who are these guys good promoters? Because people try to act like these guys are better than Don King. Like, I don't care who the promoter is. But, you know, I've heard these days, Native Wild, man, these guys try to act like, well, this promoter's better. What are these guys doing better? What are they doing better? People have to realize the reason why Turkey Al-Sheikh is even in boxing right now, promoting fights or whatever, is because he got tired of seeing what Eddie Hearn and all these people were doing. They think I think Eddie Hearn them think he got into it because for some other reason, but he literally got into it because he's tired of seeing what he's been seeing. That's why the first thing he did when he got into the sport was, let me make the fights with all the older guys that I've been waiting to see fight for the past 5 or 10 years. Let me get those fights out the way first. And you know what's crazy too, not Native Wild Man? A lot of people actually watched the Adrian Bronner and Blair Cobbs fight last year. That was on Don King promotion. It wasn't promoted heavy. It wasn't talked about a lot. I think I did some promotion on it. But it wasn't promoted like that. But that was a very talked about fight. You said who you think will win that match with Fury and Joshua? If I had to think about it, I'd probably say Joshua. I'd probably say Joshua. I'd probably say Joshua. I don't know if that was always my pick, to be honest with you. I don't know if that was. It might have been. But I'll pick Joshua. Just a style matchup thing. Not saying that Tyson Fury done or nothing. He probably will be. I don't know. He'd probably be more up for that fight than Joshua would. I don't know. But I'll probably go with Joshua in that one. Yeah, I probably would. Definitely would. I haven't seen the things that Tyson Fury would want to do with Joshua. I haven't seen him do it with a guy like that's big. You seen how he did with Ngannou. Even though Ngannou's a guy who doesn't really like, he's not gonna let you clinch, but just guys who's built like that, made like that. Not as far as strength, but as far as size, I think that would give Tyson Fury a lot more issues than a Joshua would. But it'll be a good fight though. But I think Tyson Fury is checked out though, man, for for plenty of reasons. I'm not gonna say why, but I can almost guarantee that he's not gonna come out of retirement. I can't say why for legal issues, legal reasons, but um, yeah, he's definitely I think he's retired for good. Definitely think he's retired for good. Definitely do. Yeah, it definitely will be a good fight. Yeah, I definitely think it'll be a good fight. I think once I seen Tyson Fury at that public workout before the second Usyk fight, I didn't want to say it because but I was like, man, he looks like he's done, bro. Looks like he's done. And that's not to be funny or anything because once you hit some adversity and go in depression, all of us, a lot of people have been depressed before or had a situation where you've been close to something and it didn't go your way. But the way he was responding to the loss to Usyk, it was horrible. It was horrible. I would say Tank Davis is probably handling his situation. But Tank didn't lose though. So I can't really say. If Tank would have lost, who knows? Tank got a draw, so maybe he's thinking that he got a second chance at redeeming himself without any. But yeah, man, I don't know. Once I seen him at that public workout, I said, man, Tyson Fury does not care anymore. He cares, but he's not the same. He didn't have that bounce to him. He wasn't joking around. And I haven't really thought about it much until now, what Native Wild Man, but Tyson Fury might have been done before that fight happened. Cause he's a media guy. He loves the media. So for him to be like sheltered off from the media and not want to talk, he didn't throw a punch during the public workout. I'm like, bro, that dude is telling you during fight week, man. It's important that you look at everything. That's why sometimes making a prediction is not good because once they get to fight week, these guys can be looking crazy. They can be sick, like the boy was. It could be a lot of things that's going on. So yeah, Tyson Fury told a lot with that one. Didn't take his shirt off until the fight happened. That was weird. Yeah, it was a lot of weird stuff. Was wearing a jacket, a big jacket the whole week. Yeah, but I think right now, man, they have so many talents at heavyweight. And I think that not having big fights over the years or having 50-50 fights, it's actually gonna hurt a little bit because once a guy lose twice like Joe Joyce did recently, it's gonna be a lot of people saying the guy should retire. A lot of people saying Tyson Fury should retire after he fought Usyk the last fight. So I don't think he just retired based off his own thoughts. I thought people was telling him, "Hey, you need to retire." And there was a lot of people in the UK that was saying that too. A lot of boxing experts they say he should retire and hang it up. But he just has a lot of other things outside of boxing that's going on right now. It's gonna be hard for him to box. Very hard. Maybe what I'm talking about might come out soon, but I don't want to speak on it too soon. But it's a lot of these guys that definitely have to watch their backs, man. There's a lot of guys out here getting suspended for old stuff still. The UK is cutting. They're really like being intense when it comes to this drug testing and guys failing drug tests. They're giving guys like 8-year suspensions, so it's getting real over there right now. There's a lot of things going on outside the ring. They're trying to clean things up because Turkey Al-Sheikh showed up, so it's almost like the boxing community is trying to fix all the things they know that's wrong with boxing before Turkey really gets all the way in tune with boxing. Because let's just say that boxing is they have some kind of thing where they're doing something in boxing and they know it's kind of bad, but they don't want Turkey to find out, so they're kind of doing it on the side. If they find out that it's happening and Turkey Al-Sheikh finds out, it's gonna be a bad look. It's gonna be a bad look. Because then at that point, he's not gonna want to work with anybody. Or probably organizations. So we have to realize everybody is human, so it's gonna be a lot of things where everybody's not gonna be able to get along with each other. Who's promoting? I don't think Turkey's gonna get along with all these guys. I don't think that Turkey has gotten along with all these people. Um, I think that Turkey was offended when they told him what to do with his own money recently. When they told him to take it down from 14 fights to 9 or something like that, or 13 fights to 9 or 8. It was something like that. And Turkey was looking at it like, how are you gonna tell me what to do? You remember because Turkey was having 2 or 3 different press conferences. He would have the prelims, he would have the undercard, then he had the main card. You know, he was splitting it up. But nah, they don't want him to do that now. So he's like, these dudes don't want to put on more fights. No, I can't do this. I definitely can't do it. But this year is gonna, by the time the end of this year happens, when it gets to like December, you're gonna realize that, man, it's a lot of fights happening where, you know, you don't really have to say nobody's ducking. You're gonna know who's fighting next by the time, you know, after Canelo and Crawford fight, that's gonna get a lot of things out of the way. But by the time that fight happens, you're gonna know what's going on towards the end of this year. You have to. You have to. You've had plenty of time. So most people have known that Turkey Al-Sheikh has been in boxing. If you were under a rock, at least what, October, a year and a half ago when Ngannou and Fury fought. So if you don't know that it's a guy in boxing right now that's running around with $1 billion trying to make fights, and you're a boxer, you're not trying to make nothing happen. And it's a good opportunity too, man. We got guys that was on Pro Box getting opportunities with Tank. They fight for championship belts. They're fighting on Turkey Al-Sheikh cards. So yeah, it's a lot of good things going on. But I don't think a lot of guys should be thinking about too much retirement right now. Because it only takes one fight to bounce back. And if everybody retires after 2 losses, we're not gonna have any talent in boxing. Cause sorry to say it, but when you have a tournament, it's only one winner. Everybody's not gonna be undefeated. I know people say we need to have a tournament in boxing and we need to have all the guys fighting each other. If everybody's fighting each other, it's only gonna be one guy who can possibly be undefeated. So I don't think those days are going to continue as far as that, but that's what's going to be good about this next era. But I don't think these boxers are really on that type of time either. Like these young guys like Norman and Virgil Ortiz, Boots, Stanionis. I don't think most of these guys are Barrios. I don't think they're trying to wait around. They've seen their opportunity to try to get a bigger payday and also get a belt at the same time. They took it. They took the opportunity. Definitely took the opportunity. Because some boxers, they definitely can move up right now, but in certain situations, you definitely would want to see guys. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If Boots Ennis would have moved up to 54, fought Virgil Ortiz already, it would have been a crowd of people that would have said he needs to fight Brian Norman right now. But he would have already been at 154 though. So it makes a lot of sense that he's still at that weight class. These guys are trying to fight, man. They're trying to get some matchups out of the way and then move up and fight the next person. That's why I was saying I was expecting Triple G to do something like that. I thought for sure that Triple G was moving up to 68 or 75. I said Triple G is just fighting Canelo at 60 because he might move up to 68, 75. Never did it. He moved up 68 his last fight to fight Canelo again, but that was about it. That's why sometimes we probably have to look back. That's why I'm saying with Terrence Crawford, I'm like, bro, people don't move up like that. Like, guys are just saying. A lot of these guys don't move up. They'll move up and then move back down, but most people who move up, they get forgotten. They get forgotten real quick. I know a lot of boxers who moved up and nothing good has happened. I think Jerry Hurd had moved up. There's plenty of guys that moved up in weight. Danny Garcia was good at what, 40? Then went to 47. So yeah, moving up that one extra weight class is effective in good ways and bad. Definitely effective. But yeah, I got some more news I'm gonna probably come out with. I'm definitely gonna come out with something later on because I gotta speak on a few things that's going on in the sport right now. I'm telling you guys, when I usually like get quiet, not quiet as far as if it's not like a lot of news coming out, some crazy things going on right now. In the sport of boxing, there's some crazy things going on right now. Right now. What I'm hearing right now is there are more boxers who want a payday, who are not fighting over money, who are not complaining about 6-figure paydays, 5-figure paydays. There's a lot of boxers out here who don't have a problem with fighting for $50,000 or $100,000. So the guys who've been in control or the guys who've been fighting the championship fights, like Adela Santos, I'm not saying that he's useless, but his days are numbered though, because there's somebody else out there that does want your position, even though you're not a champion. They still want to make 6 figures. So all the guys talking about this offer, I reject and stuff, or this person ain't give me this amount of money, you better figure it out soon, or it's gonna be over. Yeah, Pat Man, a lot of those guys. Yeah, as far as in that era, absolutely. Pat Man, he's still like an older man, so his era was like the Roy Jones era almost. But like, as far as this era, like, I don't know, man. I haven't really seen too many people. They're starting to do it a lot more now, but up until Canelo started doing it again recently, there wasn't too much of that going on. I'm glad Canelo does it though, because It makes a lot of other boxers jump weight classes even more. I will say, because I give Canelo credit when it's due. Um, I will say Canelo does get credit for that though, for jumping weight classes. I always said that. That's one thing I felt like Triple G could have changed the game if he would have did that. If Triple G would have just moved up and fought Andre Ward around that time, or a couple of other guys, man, I think boxing would have been so huge by now. And if Triple G really believed in himself, he probably could have got Kovalev. That's the thing about Canelo, man. He believed in himself to the point where he went out there and fought a guy. He went out there and knocked out a guy that Andre Ward stopped. So that's the one thing I was always saying about Triple G growing when he was fighting. I was like, bro, he needs to. That's why when Canelo does it, I'm like, and the reason why I asked Canelo to do it because he's the only guy who will do it. Before other guys came around, wasn't too many big names trying to jump weight classes like that after Floyd got out of the game. So once Canelo started moving up, that's when guys was like, oh, I'm moving up now. I'm going to move up. I was like, oh, okay. Now everybody want to move up now. Then when Benavidez was at 68, a lot of people were saying, it's a lot of guys who would like to come to 68, but they don't want to deal with Benavidez, so they were staying at 60. But now you see guys moving up to 68 like Charlo. Benavidez said a long time ago, oh yeah, I can definitely fight you. He did not want to fight Benavidez. David Benavidez. He fought Jose Jr. I knew then, I said, this man ain't trying to fight nobody. But yeah, I like the matchups though, man. It's definitely gonna be a lot of different things happening. But yeah, I definitely had to speak on that because Canelo, that's one thing that I definitely give him credit for. Jump in the weight classes. Because Berlanga ain't jumping no weight classes. Nobody. So the guy who's the face of boxing, you know, he can really just chill and relax. I think most of it was due to weight, but that is true, but he's still a elite fighter who really doesn't have to chase anybody. And he's fighting Crawford. So the rest of these guys talking about, oh, Crawford ain't trying to fight me. He ducking and he ain't that good. Canelo said he's a great fighter. So Canelo said Crawford's a great fighter. And Canelo said that, you know, he wants to fight him. Now, I want everybody, and what's crazy is I want everybody to think about all the fighters who felt like Crawford wasn't worth fighting. He wasn't good enough yet. He don't have a good resume. He hasn't done this. He's not a great fighter. Canelo thinks he's a great fighter. He wants to fight him. And people will say, oh, well, that's a cherry pick. They said that about Lamont Roach. And by the time this Crawford fight happened, Lamont Roach might have another dominant performance against Tank. So who knows? But one thing I have realized about Canelo is the fans don't even ask him to do anything. So it's like he doesn't know who people want to see him fight. If you look online, most people are saying Benavidez just looking for a payday. And to be honest with you, Canelo wasn't even talking about Benavidez when he was talking about a payday. Then they brought up his size, how big he is. So man, it's a lot of factors just going into certain situations, but yeah, man, stuff definitely starting to reveal itself very quickly. When I tell you guys, man, you gotta realize Boots Ennis is fighting Stanionis this weekend. He fighting Stanionis this weekend. He was talking to Stanionis in January. They were setting up the Stanionis fight since what, December? Stanionis was supposed to fight Giazov in September. Stanionis was talking about Jerron Ennis. He was talking about fighting Jerron Ennis the same time as Brian Norman Jr. September 3rd, 2024. I told people that fight was gonna happen. It can happen. I'm gonna tell you something else too. The only two people I actually was talking about, well, actually, you know, when Brian Norman Jr., when his name started to go away as far as the fight wasn't happening now, the only person I brought up was Stanionis. Because the man was available. And he literally came out and said, just give me this, this, and this, and we'll fight. The Eddie Hearn said, okay, and gave him this, this, and this. And the sad part about it is this, and this is the same this, and this that Brian Norman Jr. was asking for. Then I'm hearing people say, oh, I don't like the way fighters are calling out other fighters. Bro, the same fighter they say they don't like people calling out, he was calling out somebody else. All these guys be calling people out. The only person I know that don't run around and say just call people out all the time is Crawford. That's probably the reason why a lot of people say, oh, he just started talking now. He just started talking. He been talking since he beat Earl Spence. Nah, you just started listening to him. He talked with his fist. That's why he a boxer. Most of the boxers I like watching, those are guys who talk with their fist more than they do with their mouth. That's the easiest way I pick my boxer. So most people like boxers who talk more than they punch. Dudes say a million words, then they get in the fight, they don't let their hands go. What they say every fight when one of these guys get in the fight? Man, why they ain't letting their hands go? Why this guy ain't letting his hands go? I thought he was gonna let his hands go. Yeah, bro, he talked a good game, but he can't back it up. It happens all the time. All the time. Well, yeah, man, I just want to be on here for a little while. I'll be on here a couple more minutes. But yeah, that happens all the time, man. I told people last year, that's something that people are not going to talk about, but I made a whole video last year, September 3rd, with Stanionis saying that if you give him this, this, and this, he'll fight Jerron Ennis. While everybody was sitting there saying, oh, Brian Norman Jr. ain't trying to fight for this mount. I said, bro, that's fine. Stanionis said that he'll accept the same offer that Brian Norman Jr. wants. And he has a belt as well. So my thing is, what has changed? And people will say, well, Stanionis took what he didn't want. No, that's not it, because Stanionis said he wasn't going to take that. The deal that Brian Norman Jr. said that he didn't want, or the one that he said he just need 0.5, just give me a little 0.5 on there. Stanionis said the same thing. Stanionis said, I need 0.5 if I'm going in there trying to fight you in the middle of nowhere. I mean, in your enemy territory. and I'm giving up everything. So I don't know, man. Then I'm starting to hear word on the street that guys have turned down more money than Brian Norman Jr. And something I haven't talked about tonight too. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I didn't get into it that much tonight, but I'll say it right now. And Mario Barrios is one of my favorite fighters, if anybody knows this. But I'm hearing people talk like all these other guys at 147 that's champions, they can request for certain things and turn certain things down. But Brian Norman Jr., he ain't done nothing in boxing. And no disrespect, but I'm gonna repeat, what has these other guys done? We got people out here questioning Terrence Crawford, and people don't want me to. I can't question none of these other guys who ain't never been undisputed, just became a champion. And we got people out here questioning Terrence Crawford, and I can't question new guys or compare them to another young fighter. That's insane to me. Brian Norman Jr. came out here and did everything these other young fighters have done as champions. He ain't doing nothing no different than all these other guys doing. Getting way more spectacular knockouts than these guys. Better knockouts. In the last 12 months, ain't nobody had better knockouts than Brian Norman Jr. When it comes to stopping these guys and embarrassing them. He making guys quit, grown men. So, what are we talking about? And he's making power punchers quit. This dude out there making power punchers quit. Power punchers. But you'll have people out here respecting Stanionis Barrios' name like, oh, well, yeah, if they turn down something, I understand that. Man, you crazy. Man, you crazy. You crazy. If you understand them turn that down, guess what?
Yes, you do. You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
Gotta be smoking crack. Definitely gotta be. Definitely gotta be smoking crack, because I'm sitting around, I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, okay, what is Brian Norman Jr. supposed to do? I'm looking at other guys' resumes. I'm like, all right, what have these guys done? Because I'm just being honest with you. When I look at, because people bring up resumes a lot when it comes to boxers. When it comes to Boots, when it comes to Brian Norman Jr., when it even came to Virgil Ortiz, you have to see who these guys get in the ring with before you can sit up here and just make a bold statement saying that they're going to beat somebody who's number one pound for pound. Just anybody. We've seen Canelo go in there and get stepped on by plenty of people, and people out here like, we still got to put respect on Canelo's name. That is Canelo. You know, I haven't seen people really deal with Canelo that way, so that is still Canelo. Y'all see the respect they just give Canelo? Like, they go all out for Canelo. And I understand that, but damn, y'all can't spread that out anywhere else? This is why the sport of boxing is not, it's top heavy. It's top heavy. These guys are not selling enough in boxing to be treated like this. They're not. They're just not. Conor McGregor came to boxing and sold more than these guys. Why are we treating everybody else like they just gonna put up a pay-per-view number that's never been seen before? I don't know if these guys gonna have a top 10 pay-per-view when it's all said and done. In 20 years, will that pay-per-view be still top 10? You know what's crazy? You might actually, I'm gonna tell y'all something. If you actually put together a fight, let's just say all of the fans and everyone else in the world comes out in June and requests a certain fight. If that fight happens within 8 weeks, That fight can do 1 million pay-per-views. It's just that these people don't want to put together those certain fights. It's just that simple. They can put together $1 million fights. They just don't want to. That's why I laugh at fans when they sit up here and say, well, why is Brian Norman Jr. turning down this amount of money? Why is he turning down this amount of money when he could just get the big payday? Okay, why does a boxing promoter take a guy like Canelo and have him fight John Ryder and all these other guys when he could just take him to go fight the big names like Morrell and Benavidez? Make that make sense. And then you got every boxing fan that sit up here and been saying this. Why would he turn down the big payday? And when Canelo turned down the big payday to fight Benavidez and Crawford, nobody out here said, man, why did he turn it down? Dudes ain't never had $1 million before, but they understand why he turned down $1 million. Really? Get out of here. These dudes will tell on you for $100. Talking about, I understand why $1 million was turned down. I understand why $100 million was turned down. Promoters been doing it for years, man. They've been getting big name fighters or turning a guy into a big name, putting them in there with mid-level guys or guys who got some kind of notoriety, getting what they can out of them, and then pushing them out the door. It's been happening all the time. They've been doing it so long. That's the way the game is. They've been cooking each other like that. That's why I'm going to tell y'all a secret, too. And I'm going to go ahead and say this, just because of everybody who's in here right now. The guy who knocked out Munguia, I'm going to drop a video coming out soon. I'm going to do the live later on tonight, so I'm going to have to get off a little. I ain't going to do a long live, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to drop the live. I'm going to do the live tonight, and I'm going to drop it probably within the next couple of weeks because he's going to fight Munguia coming up. Bro, when I tell y'all this guy came out and exposed so much, I literally had to. I was supposed to go live probably 2 days ago. I literally had to take out the whole day yesterday. Because, and figure out what was going on. I've done that before. I did it with De Los Santos. That's why when these dudes was coming over here talking about some, what I was saying about De Los Santos wasn't true and all that. Bro, first of all, I'm not finna argue about a guy who threw the least amount of punches in a 12-round fight in boxing history. The man threw 44 punches in 12 rounds. If anybody knows how to do division or fractions, you know what I'm saying? That's 3 punches per round. I promise I'm not going to get on here and argue about somebody like that. I know he's a power puncher and dude has 2 losses. I'm not finna go out here and explain why he turned down 6 figures coming off of 2 losses. And then he has, not coming off of 2 losses. He has 2 losses. And he doesn't even have 20 fights. And they're talking about his second, championship fight in under 20 fights? Come on, man. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. It definitely doesn't make sense. That's why I like what's going on right now. It's a lot of changes being made. But that guy who knocked out Munguia, I'm going to tell y'all right now, nobody is talking about him right now. Munguia had the most embarrassing loss last year in boxing. I'm saying this, not to just throwing this out there to let everybody know. Munguia had the most embarrassing loss last year. They gave that Devin Haney fight more publicity and and they've done a great job too, because a lot of stuff in America is race-based when it comes to sports and stuff. So obviously anything that's motivated by that is going to win, but it's not going to have any kind of long-term success, but that's what they kind of on these days. But what I'm saying is, as far as that goes to show that Canelo is not as big as a star as I thought he was. Because if Canelo was as big as the star as I thought he was, I'm gonna tell y'all why. Just explain this. Conor McGregor was so big when he was fighting after the Floyd Mayweather fight that the guy Khabib, what's the dude name? Khabib Nurmagomedov. That dude beat Conor McGregor, and now he's the biggest thing out here. You can't. Most people don't even know the other guys that Conor McGregor lost to. But that Khabib guy, yeah, they definitely know him. It's a Terry Crawford, Brian Norman, easy work. He said, Brian Norman, easy work. Terrence Crawford, you funny. Yeah, if you Terrence Crawford, I'm definitely expect you to say that. He said Terrence Crawford. Bro, no, I'm easy work. What's going on? I gotta call you Terrence Crawford. What's going on, Terrence Crawford? Yeah, shout out to Terrence Crawford, man. Yeah, definitely shout out to him. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat too, man. Shout out to Terrence Crawford in the chat. But what I was saying was, as far as this Terrence Crawford thing, I don't know, man. I've been sitting back, just covering boxing because I like boxing. But I'm a huge Terrence Crawford fan now, and from what I'm seeing, bro, a lot of people have been talking about Terrence Crawford like that crazy lately, man. Just being honest with y'all, been talking crazy. Been talking crazy. I might have to do a video on the Appreciate it, dog. Appreciate that, man. Said Bomac. Oh yeah, speaking of Bomac too, a lot of people don't want to give Bomac that best trainer in the boxing game right now credit. I seen a lot of people go out of their body to try to say that Robert Garcia was trainer of the year last year. I'm like, and when you think about it, you could say that Bomac was trainer of the year last year. Especially when Steven Nelson just went out there and performed the way he did, because most of that training was done last year. But yeah, appreciate that, man. Terrence Crawford support. But yeah, man, this is definitely you could have said Bomac was trainer of the year last year. I was thinking about that. I'm like, and then I forgot who the guy was that Robert Garcia had. Was it Rayo? Ain't he training Rayo? Why ain't nobody questioning the Rayo and Robert Garcia situation? I'm gonna go back and talk about that later on. But I noticed that too. Nobody really questioning Robert Garcia and Rayo. Why Rayo looked the way he did against Gary Antoine Russell. I guess they just gave that, that was Rayo's fault. Even though his trainer was, responsible for him coming in with a good game plan. The game plan was trash. I wasn't hearing any kind of good adjustments in the corner. I'm talking about, it was a lot of that going on. You don't really see that going on too much when you have Bomac's guys fighting. Even with Lester Martinez recently. They did a good job with Lester Martinez. And that Lester Martinez fight, I thought Lester was, he hasn't been active recently, so a lot of different things was going on as far as training. You training for fights that ain't happening. Got different things going on, fights getting pushed back, but I thought he looked good in the fight though. That's somebody a lot of people's overlooking, but Lester Martinez had a great performance in that last fight. Dude's a very good fighter. Very good fighter. Yeah, but Bomac definitely shoot right now. Man, to be honest with you, we should be talking about Bomac being trainer of the year 3 years in a row. It should be 4, but I'm gonna just say 3. Should be talking about him being trainer of the year 3 years in a row. And the years I was watching, the years that I was watching Terrence Crawford, I felt like he wasn't even mentioned early on before the Charlos had came over and was training with Charlo, Jamel Charlo, before he was training with Derrick James. Bomac's name was never really mentioned when it came to trainers at all. That's the thing that kind of shocked me recently. I said, man, this guy not even mentioned. He's not even mentioned like that. I was like, that's wild. Even now, even now, when you see Bomac, when you see Keyshawn progressing like he is Bomac getting credit for that right now? That's a serious question. Is Bomac getting Brian McIntyre? Is he getting credit for the development of Keyshawn Davis? A lot of people were saying two or 3 years ago that Keyshawn was not good, and Andy Cruz is a guy that he needs to worry about. But from what I've seen, been dominating. All right, bet. We can set that up, dog. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I'm ready now. Yeah, I've been waiting on that. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, we can definitely do that, man. We can definitely set that up. Yeah, Bernie a rider too, man. He be out here spitting that fire too, man, letting people know. He be definitely letting people know. But yeah, I like what's going on over there. I think the wild card for me right now is uh as far as Kelvin Davis at 140. I'm seeing these guys at 140 and I'm not impressed. Kelvin Davis, as tall as he is, the way he developing recently, I think that's the wrong guy to be having around a camp like Terrence Crawford. Because usually a guy don't get up close usually a guy like that don't get up close training. But man, the way he been developing recently, man, those guys at 140 is gonna have some issues. It's gonna be a lot of issues at 140. But I definitely felt like Bomac should have been looked at as trainer of the year multiple years. But the way he's been developing Keyshawn, I think that's definitely been overlooked for a while now. Because Keyshawn, he's came out recently and him saying Baranchik was his easiest fight or felt like it was an easy fight, the easiest fight he had. That's insane. But it's not really insane when you really think about it because he's probably been training to the point where he's not even thinking about what his threshold is or his limitations. So he's just going out there fighting the highest he can as far as, and he has his brothers around him 24/7. That's kind of what the only thing he was really looking for was his brothers to be around him 24/7 to be boxing and involved with each other. That'll be a good fight, man. If Kelvin Davis was to go in there and fight one of those top 140s. But the weight class is like 35 and 40 though. It's gonna get serious soon. It's gonna get serious. The fact that De Los Santos and Keyshawn were just talking recently, that shows that a lot of people don't have a lot of ways to go. The wall's starting to close in now. Yeah, wall's starting to close in now, man. It ain't easy like they thought. Definitely starting to close in. But yeah, like the guy Bruno said recently, that was talking to the guy Bruno said recently that was talking to the guy about Jaime Munguia. Man, he said a lot of good things about the boxing game we've been asking questions about. And one thing I noticed that he was talking about was about ways guys was getting paid. If that man goes out there, he said, I was sending 60-40 for Benavidez. He didn't want to smoke. uh, that's funny. They was trying to talk about them guys fighting too. They was definitely trying to talk about them guys fighting. They was definitely talking about that fight. I don't know if Benavidez go out there and fight. I don't know, man. It look like Benavidez and Crawford can run the table right now. I think Crawford and Benavidez can run the table. I think it could definitely happen. It's gonna be some guys that's gonna have to admit that they they gonna lose to a guy that they know is a great fighter. And and I'm gonna tell y'all something else too about boxing that I love right now. That nobody want to talk about before I get off. It's a lot of guys that got their back against the wall, and we haven't even gotten to the tough fights yet. You got Tank coming off a draw that a lot of people felt like was a loss, and he got to redeem himself. If he go out there and lose again, what happens? It's not gonna be good. And then if he goes out there and uh, what else? As far as the Munguia fight, he goes out there, he's back against the wall right now. You gotta make something happen. You see, it's a lot of people back against the wall right now. You had Tim Tszyu back against the wall Saturday. People act like that was his career be over if he lost that fight. They just put the pressure on it like that because. But if you notice, it's a lot of guys who haven't fought the best of the best, but they're back against the wall right now. As far as their careers on the line. A lot of them. People are not talking about it. They focusing on Brian Norman and Crawford. Yeah, that's cool, but the guys whose career is really on the line, they say Haney's on the line. I mean, he's undisputed already. That's like me saying right now that Munguia's career is over. He's not undisputed. Very disappointed. I haven't been hearing a lot of that. because that's the kind of talk people like to say. They like to say when guys' career is over. So you would think that somebody who got knocked out with a guy with that had like 5% knockout rate, that they'll sit up here and be like, "Hey man, that dude, he done. He need to retire." But they don't got the heart to do it. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. This gonna be the most honest thing I'm gonna say. One thing I don't like about boxing fans is they get offended by a lot of stuff that me or other people say, but they don't have the heart to sit out here and call a spade when it's time. When it's time to call a spade, they don't got the heart to do it. They don't have the heart to do it. They don't have the heart to do it. They're not gonna be a lot of fans are not built for this era of boxing. I see it. I've been studying MMA recently. And MMA, when people try to get a favor or whatever, it doesn't work because, the guy end up loses. He loses and then it's hard to come back a couple of weeks later and say, man, he gonna knock out so and so. It's like, bro, he just lost. So it's almost like a hope. I hope this happens. You gotta be strategic, but yeah, a lot of these guys been getting matchmake, man. Well, people gonna find out soon. I don't have to go on here and say nobody got exposed or a fighter's ducking or this guy's trash or look at his resume. You're gonna figure out when all these fights are done who's trash and who's not. Trust me. And when it's all said and done, none of the people who's talking the loudest are going to be saying anything. They are quick to say who's ducking or something, but when it's time for a guy to really be evaluated, nobody's around to look at it. Because everybody loses, but nobody loses after they say everybody's ducking them in the world. Have to realize that. And then the ducking has gotten extreme too. Like people are talking about guys who sparred somebody is ducking. Oh, the guy fought me for free, or I fought him for 5,000, but he don't want to fight me for this amount of money, bro. Come on, man. Every scenario is different. I could be right now saying, man, why would Boots leave PBC when he could have just fought Stanionis over there? But that's business though. That's definitely business. And I understand it a little more now. And Boots trying to get paid too. He ain't trying to fight for free. So it's a lot of factors that go into everything. But it's a lot of guys who got their back against the wall right now. And I'm going to have to repeat this. We are not having the tough fights right now. Every fight is not like Canelo versus Crawford right now. It's just very good 50-50 fights that are not expected like it usually is. So it looks a little different than it usually has been, which is sad. Most boxing fights should be 50-50, but especially when you're talking about rankings and everything else. So most boxing fights should be 50-50, but as we're starting to realize now, that hasn't been the way that boxing has been matching up certain fights. It hasn't been 50-50. But now it has. It's going to be harder to break down fights and, everything else, but definitely going to play a factor. If you don't think it's going to play a factor, look at Jaime Munguia right now. We have a guy right now that people said was going to replace Canelo as being, the next great Mexican fighter. And now he's fighting for his career. And people will say that's extreme. He's not fighting for his career. People are not even talking about this guy. He just got knocked out last year. He just got knocked out a couple of months ago. And he fought Canelo last year. And people pushed Benavidez out of the way and Crawford. Canelo could have fought Crawford. People don't know this, but they were actually talking about Canelo and Benavidez and Crawford fighting Canelo instead of Munguia last May. Everybody came out and said, "Oh, well, Munguia got this many fights, and he's been doing this, and he's at that ranking. He deserves it. He's a star in boxing, and he's the next great Mexican fighter." Then this year he's fighting in a month, and ain't nobody said nothing about his fight coming up. What? But y'all got Canelo fighting guys that y'all don't even want to talk about? Man, come on, man. Y'all better be lucky that Crawford even fighting Canelo. Y'all got Canelo fighting guys y'all don't even want to watch. These dudes like William Skull, Munguia. Nah, not watching those guys unless they fight Canelo. Yeah, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I think about Munguia getting knocked out by the guy from France, Bruno, I actually think that Crawford has more of a chance to win when I think about that fight. That's how bad that performance was. And people don't want to talk about that, which is sad. Which is very, very sad. This dude went out here and got knocked out by the guy with 4 knockouts, man. And the guy was fighting at 160. 4 knockouts. That's insane. And then you got Oscar out here. And Munguia is Oscar's fighter. And you got Oscar out here. Oh, well, he was just overlooking the guy and everything. But he'll say, "Oh, Devin Haney, he's finished. He's damaged goods." Trust me. I'm going to do a live about that tomorrow. And it's going to be something that people ain't going to want to watch. But I'm going to do a live about that tomorrow. I got a list of fighters that Oscar De La Hoya has that got whooped worse than Devin Haney did against Ryan Garcia. And he's out here acting like these guys are the best thing smoking. Williams Zepeda ain't look good in his last couple of fights. Looking like he was finna pass out his last fight, to be honest with you. I don't know how a guy wins a fight and he look like he don't want to. Like he has trouble walking out of the ring. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's a lot of different things out here right now that's being spoken on the daily. That's just, it's not building the sport, but it's actually good that people have been talking like this about boxing, because this is the only way it'll get cleaned up. So definitely don't think that all this hard work is done for nothing. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for all the fake news in boxing, a lot of this stuff would not even be able to happen. We probably would have never seen Usyk versus Fury, or Beterbiev versus Bivol, or Canelo versus Crawford. So, and have you guys noticed how quiet it's got since people stopped talking about Crawford and Canelo's negotiations? When it comes to actually breaking down the fight and talking about it, all you hear people say is, he's going to knock him out. It's an easy win. Oh, he needs a warm-up. He needs a tune-up. Guys who not even on Crawford level talking about what he need to do versus Canelo. Well, how about you go out there and do that versus Canelo? I feel like every dude that talk about they want to fight Crawford or they'll beat him and all that other stuff, why don't you call out Canelo? Everybody else fighting Canelo. Canelo just went out there and fought Berlanga. If you're a boxer right now, well, before all this stuff happened, If you're a boxer, Canelo's just fighting random guys right now. If I was a boxer, I'd be like, Canelo, fight me. At least this dude's fighting Berlanga now. Why would you not try to get a fight if you're a young guy? I would have definitely said, yeah, Canelo, I'll fight you. Definitely. He literally told all you guys, I won't fight Benavidez, but I'll fight the rest of these guys. Just give me a name. They won't give him a name. They won't give him a name. I heard people saying Janovic recently, a 160. And I like Janovic, but I'm saying he's a 160. So he's not even in Canelo's division. So that means the options are nowhere. He has no options. But it's not really a good thing when you're the face of boxing and people are saying, I don't know who I want you to fight. That is terrible. That is a terrible look on boxing. To have a sport prestigious like boxing is, and to have the face, the main guy who's, synonymous with everything that goes on in boxing. And you're gonna say, well, I don't know who I want him to fight. That's like us saying, man, well, I don't know who I want Floyd to fight. Have it ever been a time in Floyd's career when nobody knew who they want him to fight? I'll tell you something that's embarrassing. You might have Canelo fans figure out who they want Floyd Mayweather to fight right now in 2025 before they find out who they would want Canelo to fight. I'm serious. I done seen some conversations and talks about Canelo's fights in the future and nothing. Nobody asked about anything. When Floyd was fighting, people talking about, oh, Floyd protected his O. What you mean? Floyd ducked the guy like Benavidez when he fought? I mean, let's just say he did. I don't think he did, but let's just say Floyd ducked the guy like David Benavidez when he was fighting. So if you're a Floyd Mayweather fan, you want Canelo to be like Floyd? But you said Floyd was bad for boxing though. If Floyd was so bad for boxing, why do so many people want Canelo to be like Floyd? And why do they hold him to the same? Well, he's not held to the same standard because he's not fighting people that fans are requesting, like rematches with Maidana and stuff like that. Canelo didn't even fight Maidana. Nobody even questions that. I still don't know why that man ain't fight Maidana or Manny Pacquiao. I still can't understand why those two fights didn't happen. I can kind of understand why. I can kind of understand why. Maybe it was some stuff that was going on. He felt like he didn't have an advantage of. For him not to fight those two guys, that's bad. Very bad. But I'm telling you, man, the sport is in a great spot right now. You have a lot of fighters who are tired of waiting around on guys like Canelo, man. You have a couple of people complaining about saying Crawford ducking, but no offense, but those guys don't have the type of resume Terrence Crawford had when he was a champion at 147 or 154 or anything. When Terrence Crawford was a champion at 147, he had a legit resume. A legit resume. By the time he was at 47, he was already undisputed. So if a guy that's undisputed if he has to prove himself to the fans, all of these fighters got to prove themselves. I'm not doing any favoritism or kissing none of these fighters, but bro, if you can go out here and criticize a number one pound for pound fighter like Terrence Crawford, all these guys getting criticized. Canelo too. Canelo didn't look regular in a lot of fights. He didn't have a lot of close fights in his tough fight. Danny Jacobs and all those guys. And I feel like he's overhyped because The only knockouts you really know about him is Old Men, who was from 5 years ago. And Caleb Plant, when he went out there and did what he did. But guys aren't really just knockout artists like that. And I think that's going to hurt a lot of people's careers because a lot more people just relying on the knockout. And, you know, the fans kind of boost these guys up, boost their head up to believe that the knockout is going to come every time. And it's not. It's definitely not. It's definitely not. What's really helping a lot of these people and saving them is his scoring and his judging. If the scoring and judging was a lot more different, you wouldn't see guys kind of run around the ring the last 2 or 3 rounds. Guys would try to go for the knockout the last 2 or 3 rounds. So even the judging in boxing affects what we see on the screen. You might not think that, but like Lamont Roach said recently, St. Davis knew I wasn't gonna win the fight. They ain't finna give me a decision. So what did Tank do them last couple of rounds? He ain't try to go for no knockout the last couple of rounds. He did not try to go for a knockout. You haven't heard not one person say, man, he was trying to go for a knockout and he almost slept the guy. He wasn't trying to go for a knockout. No knockout at all. He knew what time it was. But yeah, man, I just want to get on here and kick it. I'm gonna be on here later on tomorrow. Probably early or something like that. I'm gonna start doing a little pop-up live. Y'all gonna see me tomorrow, probably later on tonight or something like that. Probably gotta do something a little later on, but yeah, y'all gonna see me do a little lives popping up randomly at random times. So if I close one out, probably just gonna have one come on later on. So don't trip out too much, but you'll understand what I'm saying. But I appreciate everybody for hanging in, man. A lot more stuff gonna be coming out tomorrow. It's gonna be a big weekend when Boots in this fight. It's gonna be a huge undercard, so I'm gonna give everybody a preview of the undercard. What's gonna be coming on? Because Shakur Stevens' cousin is fighting on the undercard. Zay Moses. You have Ray Ford. Got a couple of other guys. I don't know why I'm messing up their names right now. Got a couple of other guys on there too. Tamir Smalls. I think Tamir Smalls out of Philadelphia. So yeah, you got a couple of guys on there. Good undercard. I mean, good prelims too.